5:11 on AM 560, and that, of course, means it's time for a dry basement and a healthy home. And time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. And also means it's time to go into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center and join Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good Friday morning, Mike. On Chicago's north side, Kedzie remains closed between Devon and Rosemont after that major overnight fatal crash you told us about a few minutes ago. And Kedzie shut down an area between Devon and Rosemont. The Ohio feeder ramp, there's a crash, eastbound Ohio to Orleans. The Kennedy itself looks good. The express lanes have opened this morning on time on the inbound side. Things are looking good on the Kennedy, but there is some weekend work planned on the Kennedy starting tonight, including a closure of the left lane on that Ohio feeder and some overnight lane and ramp closures throughout the weekend on the inbound Kennedy. I-57 inbound, it's heavy, 119th to 115th. The crash just cleared out of the way. Crash reported inbound Ryan at 75th. Traffic's a little heavy on the eastbound Reagan Tollway, the roadwork zone approaching the tri-state. Traffic service of Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. It's also the place. National brands like Scott's, Miracle-Gro, Ortho, and Roundup, and the local expertise you need to grow the lawn and garden you've always wanted. Stop by Ace today to stock up on everything you need for the season. Only at Ace, the helpful place. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answers starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy and breezy with a shower or thunderstorm around. Cool day with a high 55. Breezy tonight, gusts around 35 miles per hour with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, low 40. Still very windy tomorrow, gusts up to 40 miles per hour with rain and drizzle, high 42. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
40 at O'Hare, 44 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
Build business with Chamber 630, one of the largest business organizations in DuPage County. Marketing your business and connecting clients is their priority. Visit chamber630.com or call 630-968-4050 to join today.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. There you go. Red rum.
I don't recognize this day.
Dan and Amy, good morning
This
on
is
this
just
Friday the
Friday.
13th.
No, it's just
Spooky.
It's just Friday. I'm very superstitious.
Are you?
Yeah, I don't buy any milk that the expiration date is with the 13. I don't sit in the 13th row of planes. I don't, if there's a 13th
have
floor,
13th
I
row?
don't. Oh, yeah, they do in some of them. Some of the older models. Super 80s have
You
the-
better watch out then because Dustin has put a ladder right outside the studio,
No.
so you don't want to walk under that.
Yeah, no, that won't be happening. I would never walk under a ladder. Never. I would never step on a crack because it would break my mother's back.
I've heard that.
And I don't touch peacock feathers ever. I'm sure you don't either. That just
Not
sounded
normally.
naughty. There's a lot of things I don't do, but yeah, I hate the number 13. I don't really. Let's not talk about it.
What if I broke this mirror in my pocket?
Then I'm so sorry, but you will have 7 years of bad luck. I had
that
a
right?
horrible 7 years, and it was because I
Because you
broke
broke
the
a mirror.
mirror in my compact
Yeah.
and with my powder case, and that is the reason why everything unfolded because I broke a mirror.
Wow.
And
Unless you could pinpoint the cause. Yeah.
yeah,
When
'Cause
did
it was
that
when
when
they-
did that 7 years end?
well, it's kind of still going.
Did you break another mirror?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. No, I mean it was when it was really bad. It was because I broke a mirror.
Did one of those feral cats that you feed in your neighborhood are any of them black? And did
Oh,
they
I
Ron
would- you know
Santo
what?
you? Did
I-
they Ron Santo you?
I couldn't feed a feral black cat.
You wouldn't feed. You'd let it starve.
Yeah. Oh well, he
No,
can
we
find
should-
another
oh,
home.
Okay. Well,
No, I don't. But I did befriend a black cat in St. Croix, but he had some white paws, so it was okay. It was in a completely.
it has to be full black for the
yeah.
bad luck.
Yeah, and if there's a black cat in front of me, I will turn my car around or turn my person around just to make sure that he doesn't cross in front of me.
You're a curious figure,
Well,
but I'm sure you get that a lot.
Okay. It's true. Well, you're not superstitious at all?
No.
Mike, are you superstitious
No.
about anything?
No.
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 No,
we weren't raised as gypsies, unlike you.
They're called Eastern European Traveling Group. They're not called. You can't use the word gypsies. That's
Eastern
a derogatory.
European Traveling Group.
That's a derogatory
isn't
term.
that the band that John Popper fronted?
I don't know, but you can't say the word somebody got gypped off. That is
You just said it.
Well, that's part of the word gypsy.
You just said it.
Oh no, am I going to get written up
That's
again?
you know what? That's 6 years of bad luck.
Oh no, it's not. Don't
Slightly
put that hate
worse,
on me. No, it's
slightly,
not. No.
better than breaking a mirror.
Are you superstitious? You said something.
No, I'm not superstitious. However, I do enjoy the days when we set up a ladder outside the studio door
Seriously?
Yeah.
and let you
You're
walk
not-
underneath it.
Exactly.
I'm not.
We're
doing
going
that.
to do that again.
No.
Yeah.
you're
Yes, we
not.
are.
No.
Justin he's already done it.
I'll just stay here.
There's secret ladders
Oh, there's-
deployed all over the office. You won't even know.
Oh, they're invisible ladders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I won't know until I hit it, and then I'll be under the ladder.
What about horror movies? You like yourself
Oh,
some horror movies?
Dear Lord, I would get a colonoscopy before I'd go to see a horror film. My kids went to go see it, and two of the kids actually walked out because I was in the hallway because I was never going to step foot in that theater. But I couldn't get them in unless they were with an adult.
Yeah.
But the adult didn't want to go in to see the movie. So yeah, no. Horror films.
So not going to be a Halloween or Friday the 13th film festival at the Jacobson House today?
No.
What about the Saw movies?
Oh,
I
The
consider
Saw
those more like morality plays than horror movies.
really?
Yeah. You should check. Have you not heard of these?
I've heard of them, but I just kind of.
Have you ever watched one?
a Saw movie?
Yeah.
No.
You should check it out. I think
what-
you'd like it.
Really, what's it about? I mean, what do they do?
So this is just about people getting their comeuppance.
These loggers, they saw.
No, but it's about people getting their comeuppance for prior bad acts. That's all. I mean, it's you know.
it sounds great.
No, I mean, but it's it's very interesting. It's
Why don't you give me the CD disc set
the-
for Mexico? I can watch it on the plane.
yeah, sure. The justice they receive is creatively
Well, do they deserve it,
meted out.
or is it? Or are they
Well,
wrongly accused, or just morally
I
they're
wouldn't.
bad characters?
No, I wouldn't say they're wrongly accused. You could make your own judgments. That's some of the fun of the movie as to whether or not they deserve the justice they received.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
maybe.
I think you really like it.
I mean, I thought Shape of Water is kind of a scary film. Well,
Well,
the first time you see Fishman.
Yeah. Don't worry. Saw is much less frightening than
Seriously? I mean,
Shape
should
of
I-
Water.
Should I get it?
Yeah,
Don't listen to
yeah,
him.
Yeah,
Don't listen to
yeah.
him.
Well, my kids wanted to watch a scary movie with me, but I said it's got to be kind of.
I don't think
Like
your
10
kids should
10
watch it, but I think you should watch it. But
10
it's on. You'll like it. I think
Really?
you'll.
How many saws are there?
One of the principals is a character named Jigsaw, who I think you'll kind of
Oh, is
find
that
simpatico with.
Jigsaw?
Yeah, Jigsaw.
Is that a street name or?
No, it's just kind of his character's name.
Okay.
So,
Is Jigsaw nice? I mean,
he's a bit of a raconteur in the dark arts, if you will. He's interesting. Yeah.
who is this Jigsaw?
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google Jigsaw.
No. It's much better if you
might
just
ruin it.
watch it, and the surprise.
Yeah.
The surprise.
How many saws are there?
There's a few. And
Saw 1, Saw 2, Saw 12.
Although
I think there's 7 Saw movies.
It's not that unusual to not like horror films, though. The new
Dan.
Quiet Place film, John Krasinski's
I saw
film.
that. It's good.
I'm interested whether you like it or not. He's never seen a horror film before doing that film with Emily Blunt. He detested horror films.
It's not really a horror film, though.
Yeah.
It's sort of kind of like a sci-fi thriller. But it's A Quiet Place is very good. Yeah. Very good. I do recommend that.
Yeah, thanks. I just saw a picture of Jigsaw.
Well, what? It's just he got a mask. That's just a mask on that he likes to wear.
Okay.
He likes to play dress up. I think you'll like it. It's fun. I would recommend to maybe after an appetizer of one of the Saw movies, you pick up Midnight Meat Train, because I think
Meat
you'll like
Train.
that as well. You know who's in that?
No.
Bradley Cooper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he the villain or the
No,
victim?
he's a good guy.
Oh,
he's
really?
a good guy. Yeah. So a hunk like Bradley Cooper, how could you not watch Midnight Meat Train?
Midnight Meat Train.
Yeah.
That's the name of a horror film?
Well, some people would call it a horror film. I mean,
I did watch 10 Clover Lane.
Mhm.
I had to leave. That was too scary.
Oh yeah, Saw is much less scary than 10 Clover Lane.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, yeah. Midnight Meat Train. Are you? Oh, come. See, that's gross. That's so gross.
It's
Besides
the most disgusting movie that's ever been made.
Midnight Meat Train.
Yeah.
I can see why. I just
Loved it.
All right, forecast for today, which is just Friday. It's going to be cloudy, cooler with a thunderstorm from late morning on, a high of just 55 degrees. And then tonight, a low of 38 with a thunderstorm. And for Saturday, rain, drizzle, just kind of a yucky day, a high of 42. And on Sunday, breezy, cloudy, a couple of showers, a high of 40. Ugh, that's not good. And then it doesn't get better. Oh, Tuesday it gets better. All right, let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Anything good on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, good morning. Good morning, Dan, but it's a little ugly here, too, as well. We have a couple of major wrecks. There's one on the outbound Eisenhower. Traffic stop and go Laramie to Central. Crash with injuries. We're still getting word on lane blockage, but it's about a 2 or 3 minute delay right now. Starting at Laramie, it's crashed near Central Avenue. Inbound, might have a brief gaper slowdown. Otherwise, the inbound ike looks good. Kennedy is fine, and the express lanes are open on the inbound side this morning. No problems. Report on the Eden. Stevenson still good. About I-57, a little heavy, 119th, 115th after an earlier collision. And then on the north side of Chicago, Kedzie is closed between Devon and Rosemont after a major overnight crash. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
About a week ago, we went up to St. John's Northwest Military Academy in beautiful Lake County region of southwest Wisconsin. And I was just amazed at how respectful the young men were. What a beautiful campus. It's really a great experience. And they've been serving young men with an outstanding education and preparation for life. But now that same experience is available for young women. Northwest John's Military Academy immerses young men and women in a culture of leadership that inspires personal growth. They have 4 themes: academics, spiritual and character development, athletics, and our military tradition. It's not a place for juvenile delinquents. No, there's kids from all over the country and from all over the world. Grades 7th through 12th, there's boarding or day boarding going on for full co-ed. And it's a place that you can trust for your son or now daughter. And as a mom, I want to know that if I choose a military boarding school, that it would encompass the values that I look for. There's limited registration right now for co-ed summer camp at St. John's Northwestern Military Academy. That is happening now, as well as the year-round school application process, but space is limited. Go to their website at sjnma.org. You can check out the summer camps that they have available. You'll see the activities they do. They go scuba diving. They go through mud pits. They play paintball. It looks like fun. I want to go this summer for a week. That's sjnma.org, or call 1-800-SJ-CADET. That's 1-800-SJ-CADET. Again, the website, sjnma.org.
Building owners and managers. When it comes to maintaining the value of your commercial, industrial, or institutional building, there will be roof repairs or replacements for you to deal with. When you're looking for a good roofing contractor, search the ChicagoRoofing.org website for Chicagoland's best roofing contractors for repairs, replacements, or new construction. And you can check out their innovative roofing work also. All contractors at ChicagoRoofing.org proudly employ members of Roofers Union Local 11 who have undergone 5 years of rigorous training at the country's leading school for roofing, the Chicagoland Roofers Joint Apprenticeship Training Center. ChicagoRoofing.org contractors are at the top of their game and provide Chicagoland's best value for the best roofs all year long. Building owners and managers, you will have roof repairs or replacements to deal with. It's inevitable. Go to ChicagoRoofing.org. That's ChicagoRoofing.org.
It's Dan Proft, and I'm excited to tell you about the Dangerous Camp for Boys and over 20 other summer camps from Northridge Prep. What's Dangerous Camp? It's a camp designed to get your boys off their iPads, iPhones, and video games this summer. It's dangerously fun, not unsafe. They throw water balloons, play games, and learn the meaning of outdoor adventure. As a listener to the morning show, you've heard me talk about Northridge Prep, the all-boys school in Niles that instills the traditional values you hold as parents. Their summer programs for boys in grades 1 through 8 combine fun, adventure, and character growth. You won't find camps like this anywhere else. A few camps caught my eye, like basketball camps led by a former NCAA Division I coach and varsity players, Battles of the Civil War, Bugs and Botany, Intro to Musical Improv, even a robotics camp where campers learn to build, pilot, and code their own robots. Get your son off the couch and into the outdoors. You can learn more and register online at northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher & Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher & Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher & Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at kelleherbuckley.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Live or die. Make your choice.
Oh, what is this? I'm not.
What? See that uplifting? That's some of the theme music in Saw. It's kind of fun.
I didn't listen to the first part.
It's a romp, really. The
Oh.
Saw movies. Yeah, it's a bit of a it's a bit of a rom-com element
What's
to
the
it.
premise of the Saw?
Like I said, just morality plays, people who've done wrong, and creative ways to encourage them to do right. Well, the ones that live.
Oh, great. So it's like Game of Thrones. Somebody always dies.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, but different.
Yeah. I tell you, just check them out. I tell you, so it's Friday the 13th, and you think Saw or Jason's scary. We got audio of Hillary in Chicago.
Well, she was stopping. Yeah, she was in town yesterday, and why was she here? To promote women. She wants
Finally.
she wants women to get beyond the polling booths and into political office. She was keynote speaker at the Ida B. Wells Legacy Committee fundraiser.
Oh.
It's not enough to thank black women. We need to support black women.
Yeah, and that's what she was saying, that we need to
Finally,
raise
somebody
funds.
said it.
Well,
the courage.
94% of African-American women voters supported Clinton in 2016. So she pointed that out yesterday.
I'm sure she did.
Black women have done more than your part to stand up for American values and to keep us moving forward.
Thank you, Hillary, for patronizing us. We appreciate you visiting.
Guess who was there? Former Senator, U.S. Senator Carol Moseley Braun.
Pitching her
It's
tea.
very difficult, but you can't be deterred by the difficulties. You have to really be focused on the opportunities and the opportunities to contribute to the larger community.
So that was her.
I don't even know what any of that means.
Well,
but I'll tell you what I do know.
She's trying to get people to run for office. She's talking about how difficult it is.
She's trying to get people to buy her tea.
Oh, she's selling tea?
She's in the tea business.
Oh.
Yeah.
Importer, exporter?
Import-
She's got a small shop?
Import, export.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just don't you worry about it.
Well, that's a big business.
No,
How'd she get that gig?
Yeah, she did team up with Billy Corrigan. A couple of knuckleheads who don't know what to do with their lives. They have a little tea shop.
Well, he's very into healthy living. I'm sure it's organic tea, right?
Oh, brother.
Oh, boy. So Bridget Gaynor was there because she's going to try to vie to get votes. She's thinking about running for mayor.
Since nobody knows who she is, she's a Cook County commissioner. Right.
This is the way we come together and we push them forward.
And about that mayor's race?
Thinking about it very seriously.
There's Marion Ahern. And Lori Lightfoot was there. Is she going to run? Is she?
She's an attorney.
Oh, sorry. She's a what?
Nobody knows who she is. She's an attorney who was on the ROM Star Chamber Police Review Commission. Yeah.
Being the mayor of Chicago, first and foremost, should be about listening.
Yeah.
You, of course, want to lead. You, of course, have a vision. But that has to be informed by conversations that you're having with people in the trenches.
All the ladies were there talking and getting to know each other.
That's what we've been missing. We haven't had enough conversations here. Finally. So I got all right. So
we
see.
get to
Here's
the
what,
heart of the matter.
Here's everything's in Chicago gets solved with patronizing black women. In the most sort of insulting, insouciant way, like Hillary does. Stitching our community together with Carol Moseley Braun's tea, and conversations. Hey, man, start talking to one another. You know how you deal with the Chicago police and fire unfunded pension liabilities?
Have a luncheon?
Yeah.
Sit down and have some tea.
Applaud Carol Mosley Braun. Have a spot of tea. And
have Hillary get up there, your hero.
And listen to Bridget Gaynor and Lori Lightfoot posture about running for mayor. That's how you do it. Bruce in Whiting, Indiana.
Yeah, hi, Dan, Amy.
Yes.
Yes, I thought I'd just chime in and I'll give you the reason why Friday the 13th is considered an unlucky day.
Okay.
Make this the brief version of the history.
Right. All right. It was 1307 when the Knights Templars in Europe were arrested by Pope Clement V and Philip IV of France, and that's why it's considered an unlucky day. That's why we remember it.
Thank you, Bruce, a.k.a. Dan Brown. We appreciate your call.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Mike Pompeo is a nominee for Secretary of State, so, of course, in his confirmation hearings, Democrat senators want to focus in on gay sex. And we'll have that at 5:38.
And fired FBI Director James Comey all but declares war on President Trump and his new revenge tell-all. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
37 degrees. President Trump this morning says a deal on NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, is close. He also spoke with reporters at the White House yesterday, suggesting a renegotiated trade deal could be coming in weeks. Meantime, the president says a decision on what to do about Syria is very soon. Secretary of State nominee Mike Pompeo believes the president does have the authority to launch missile strikes in Syria if he chooses to do so.
Those decisions are waiting. Every place we can, we should work alongside Congress to get that. But yes, I believe the president has the domestic authority to do that.
He was asked if Trump and prior presidents had the authority to take those actions without specific congressional authorization. Well, it's a big spring storm moving through parts of the U.S. Heavy snow dropping from Washington through the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. It's moving east. Blizzard warnings are set for tonight in Minnesota. Oklahoma teachers going back to class.
While the walkout is ending today and we're going back to school, we are not just giving up and going home.
The president of the Oklahoma Education Association saying teachers ended their 9-day walkout after they say they secured almost $500 million in funding for next school year. Meantime, Kentucky teachers from a dozen districts are forcing those districts to cancel classes so teachers can protest the signing of a bill that revamped teacher pension benefits. Former White House official who was convicted of lying to the FBI might get a presidential pardon. Scooter Libby was convicted of obstruction of justice in 2007 after revealing the identity of CIA agent Valerie Plame. His 30-month sentence was then commuted by then-President George W. Bush. We're tracking an E. coli outbreak that sickened people in 7 states so far, 17 from the Pacific Northwest. An investigation continues this morning after a human leg was pulled from the Des Plaines River near Lockport. Authorities say dock workers at the Lockport Lock and Dam discovered the leg Wednesday night. The suspect in Rockford's triple murder pleading not guilty, Raheem King, went before a judge yesterday. And Sears is closing its last store in the Chicago city limits. Employees at the Six Corners store in Old Irving Park were told yesterday the store will close in mid-July. Pirates over the Cubs 6-1. White Sox and Twins try and play the second of 4 games at Target Field tonight. The news service of TheraWorks Relief. To prevent muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief. Fast-acting foam, clinically proven to relieve leg and foot cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today at select Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid pharmacies or TheraWorksRelief.com. Ask your pharmacist for TheraWorks Relief. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher isn't going to get pushed around.
There's so much ugliness out there, and I admit I kind of contributed to it yesterday. Now, you know me. Somebody calls me and acts like a jerk to me, like a few of you did yesterday. I'm not going to just roll over because I didn't like the way the tone went with some of our callers.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Stop by a Subway restaurant for the new double meat signature wraps for just $6.99 each. Prices may vary. Additional charge for extras plus applicable tax. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Save more with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Hey, Todd, Liberty Mutual just saved me $782.
Liberty did what?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Maybe I should switch to Liberty Mutual.
Visit us online to... Hey, stop echoing.
Sorry.
Visit us online to get a quote, and you could save $782. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Based on a recent countrywide new customer survey, coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, Equal Housing Insurer.
5:37. Check of the morning ride to work in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. North side of Chicago, Kedzie remains blocked between Devon and Rosemont after a major overnight crash. We have a reported collision on I-57 southbound, pretty well south, north of Manhattan Pony Road. Report of a head-on crash in that area. Eisenhower. On the outbound side of the Eisenhower, you have delays right now from around Laramie to Central. There are two left lanes blocked with a collision there. You report some injuries. It's 33 minutes to get from downtown to 390, inbound 30. Edens is fine. Kennedy clear. Reversibles are open inbound. On Stevenson, a little tight. Lasky to Kedzie, 36 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 18 minutes, 95th to downtown. Station 4 with just a 2-minute delay. Cottage Grove to the Ryan. Traffic, service of Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. It's also the place with national brands like Scott's, Miracle Grow, Ortho, and Roundup. The local expertise you need to grow the lawn and garden you've always wanted. Stop by Ace today to stock up on everything you need for the season. Only at Ace, the helpful place. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy, cooler, with a thunderstorm around from late morning on. High topping out at 55. Currently 40 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And so Mike Pompeo, the current CIA director, of course, has been nominated by the president to be his Secretary of State to replace Rex Tillerson, Rexon. And Pompeo was before the Senate yesterday for his confirmation hearing. And naturally, with everything going on in the world, North Korean nukes and chemical attack in Syria, the Russian threat,
there's a lot.
The relationship with China and the prospects of trade war, all of this going on. Naturally, Democrat senators zero in on
Possible Syrian airstrikes?
the big issues. No, not the big issue.
I think the biggest are pending Syrian airstrikes.
Well, that's why you're not a senator from New Jersey and Cory Booker is. Because the big issue for the next Secretary of State, yeah, exactly, gay sex.
I do want to give you a chance to speak about your comments on gay and lesbians. You said in a speech that mourning an America that endorses perversion and calls it an alternative lifestyle, those are your words. Is being gay a perversion?
Senator, when I was a politician, I had a very clear view on whether it was appropriate for two same-sex persons to marry. I stand by that.
So you do not believe it's appropriate for two gay people to marry?
Senator, I continue to hold that view. It's the same view.
And
for the
so
record,
people in the State Department, I met some in Africa that are married under your leadership. You do not believe that should be allowed.
Senator, I believe it's the case. We have married gay couples at the CIA. You should know. I treated them with the exact same set of rights.
Do you believe that gay sex is a perversion?
What do you
yes
have
or
in
no?
mind?
Senator, if
yes or no, sir. Do you believe that gay sex is a perversion? Because that's what you said here
Senator,
in one of your speeches. Yes or no? Do you believe gay sex is a perversion?
Senator, I'm going to give you the same answer I just gave you previously. My respect for every individual, regardless of their sexual orientation, is the same.
Senator, are you hitting on me?
I mean, first Dick Durbin's asking Mark Zuckerberg for his hotel room, and now you have Cory Booker basically
right.
jumping Pompeo.
I think we have a
little problem.
We got a Me Too problem with Democrat senators during these hearings. Yeah, Durbin and Cory Booker are predators.
Cory Booker, that was his big I got you moment, or he thought it was, but he fell flat on his face.
Well, so this is
everybody knows what he's trying to do. He's trying to make a name for himself, elevate his brand so that he can run for president in 2020.
Yeah, but it's how you do it and what it says about the Democrat Party and what it says about our culture. So here's how you do it. We're talking about a nominee for Secretary of State, and then he's talking about gay sex. Because what's the real play? It's bigot baiting.
I shouldn't laugh.
Goes back to what Rusty Reno wrote about bigot baiting. And the whole kind of solidarity and marginality play. It's all, it's straight, as you say, politics in advance of 2020, politics in advance of 2018. But this is who the Democrats are. They are bigot baiters and solidarity and marginality demagogues. And that's all they are. That's all they have. All of the geopolitical issues and national security concerns. And Cory Booker won't let it go that Mike Pompeo believes that marriage is only properly defined as the union between one man and one woman. And he still wants to litigate that even after the Obergefell decision. Even you think they win, or you can see them some turf, and then that discussion is over, and they will no longer prosecute that case. And this is where so many supine Republicans and erstwhile conservatives are wrong. They will continue to build on the retreat that you offered them. They don't want armistice. They want power.
Well, this is what Booker then said. Your views do matter because you're going to be dealing with Muslim states on Muslim issues. And I do not necessarily concur that you are putting forward the values of our nation when you believe that there are people in our country that are perverse.
Well, I mean,
first of all, Muslims they do not believe in same-sex marriage.
Here's the response.
Can tell you that.
Here's the response to Cory Booker.
What do you say?
Either you're flippant with him, like, what do you have in mind? Could you ask me about gay sex?
Are you looking at me?
Yeah.
Is it me?
Or you say to
my
him,
team?
Or you say to him, Senator, honestly, you're embarrassing yourself. People have different views on the institution of marriage and what it is properly defined to be. I have stated my position. You have stated your position. Everybody, just about everybody in this Congress up until 5 minutes ago, including the president of your party until his second term, agreed with my position, oh, by the way. And now anybody who retains that position is somehow a heretic, anti-American, doesn't represent American values. Nonsense. I believe in a child's natural right to mom and dad. I'm not going to sway from that. That doesn't mean I also don't believe, consistent with where that previous understanding comes from, that every single individual in this world is God's child and they're to be treated with respect and dignity. That's what I did at CIA. That's what I did as a member of Congress. That's what I'll do as Secretary of State. If only you could do the same, Senator Booker. I mean, I know for these confirmation hearings, they're just kind of trying to keep their head down and just power through it.
We wouldn't even have heard about this confirmation hearing in the mainstream media had that moment not occurred.
Probably.
It was all over ABC, NBC, and they just showed that one clip that we just played.
And I know, you're just supposed to be a pincushion. That's the conventional wisdom on this. But at some point, somebody has to stand up to these thugs if you want the thuggery to stop. And that was a moment where Pompeo could have, and he chose not to. Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, you almost stole my thunder, Dan. The point I want to make, even when Kamala Harris or that idiot from California was at her church, why can't these people that are being interviewed just say, you know what, that's a dumb question, it's not on topic, and why are you just call them out for what they are, total jerks. And I think if someone started doing that, you know what, they'd probably get more people behind them than just taking it, like you said, a pincushion. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Ed. Well, and this continued. Jean Shaheen, who is the senator from New Hampshire, Democrat, she wanted to talk about Mike Pompeo's record as CIA director on the same topic, treatment of gay couples, and he was happy to talk about it.
You talked about the importance of defending human rights as Secretary of State, and certainly as Secretary of State, you would be this country's top diplomat representing America's values in support of diversity and inclusion. And yet, during your tenure in Congress, you've made statements that have been described as anti-Muslim and anti-LGBT rights. So how would you, as Secretary of State, reconcile those positions and statements that you've taken in Congress with the need to represent America's values and defend human rights?
Senator, I appreciate the question. Look at my record. Not just these past 15 months. There were the same questions when I was to be confirmed as a CIA director. As a CIA director, I have honored and valued every single CIA officer, regardless of race, color, you pick it, gender, sexual orientation. I've treated every one of our officers with dignity and respect. I've promoted them when they deserve it. I've held them accountable when they deserve that as well. I promise you that I'll do that as the Secretary of State.
And I appreciate those sentiments, and I appreciated your comments in your testimony saying that you would support the State Department's workforce, that it be as diverse in every sense of the word, race, religion, background, and more. And yet you were criticized at the CIA for undermining policies of the previous administration to improve diversity at the CIA.
Ma'am, I don't know the criticism that you're referring to. I have to tell you, I didn't undermine a single policy. We've emphasized it. We've talked about it. We've worked on it. I think I'm proud of the work that I did to continue to develop and increase the capacity for the CIA to deliver a diverse workforce, to meet the challenges, the intelligence challenges in that case, around the world.
Well, I would just say Michael Weinstein, who is a former Air Force officer who founded the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, says that he has been seeing increasing complaints from those inside the intelligence community under your leadership. So I think there have been a number of concerns raised.
Ma'am, if I might,
please.
The number of, we call them no-fear complaints, the statutory requirement, decreased from 2016 to 2017 by 40%.
Good.
And I'm
Yeah, good. Oh, okay, well, I was wrong. But here's the thing. The whole diversity thing, our values that the left, this is the left lingo, right? These automatons of the left. Our values, American values, diversity and inclusion. Really? Liberty, justice before the law, equal justice before the law. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, maybe. Diversity as an American value, totally bastardizing American values, redefining that as they're redefining anything else, to continue to make their bigot baiting play. It was really interesting. There is no safe haven, safe space from this. And if you think there is, remember, this is in the context of a confirmation hearing for the United States Secretary of State. So tell me again, you don't think it's coming to a workplace, a school, an institution near you.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Here's the cold, hard truth about hard water in our homes. Nearly 90% of America is affected by it. Hard water contains harsh minerals that can dry out skin and hair. Hard water can raise our electricity bill by up to 48%. It even creates buildup in pipes that can lead to pathogenic bacteria growth. Stressed out yet? Don't be. Salt-based water softeners can solve all your hard water issues. Get the full scoop at alittlesalt.org.
Buy a Zepa and feel good. That's ZYPPAH.com. And when you stop your snoring, you're going to sleep better. You sleep better, you're going to feel better. Don't procrastinate. Go to Zepa.com, buy a Zepa, and feel good. That's ZYPPAH.com. And when you stop your snoring, you're going to sleep better. You sleep better, you're going to feel better. Come on, let's get things going, people. Don't procrastinate. Go to Zepa.com, buy a Zepa, and feel good. That's ZYPPAH.com.
If you've ever dreamed about owning a place at the lake, then now is the time to act. On Saturday, April 28th, Kentucky Lakes' fastest-selling community is having a grand opening sale featuring newly released acreage home sites. You can get 10-plus acres with lake access and a new barn dominium for only $59,500. You heard it right. Over 10 acres, lake access, and a new barn dominium for under $60,000. All properties have access to a 150-acre recreational park with horse trails and a neighboring full-service marina featuring a beautiful white sand beach for your enjoyment. The last grand opening was a complete one-day sellout. Call now for the earliest appointment and ask about the free hotel accommodations with tour. Call 888-GET-LAND or visit 888-GETLAND.com. Excellent financing is available, so hurry and call or visit 888-GET-LAND for your tour reservations. Barn dominium is to be built shell on your foundation. Lakeview Realty Brokers.
Deb, I'm so done with today. Traffic was awful. I couldn't stop for coffee. I have conference calls all morning, plus all these reports to go through. And look, it's 75 and sunny, and I'm stuck in here.
Relax. It's going to be an awesome day. Corporate is throwing a picnic in the parking lot for lunch, and they ordered tasty catering.
What? Did I miss the memo?
Apparently. It's going to be great. They got burgers, grilled chicken, sides, the works. You know, Tasty Catering's picnic food is excellent.
Oh, yeah, I know. We had them for our holiday party.
Today, they're bringing out the Make Your Own Burger Creation Station. They have everything you can think of, like sriracha, blue cheese crumbles, bacon, sautéed mushrooms, and caramelized onions. And they serve it straight off the grill, the way a great burger should be.
Okay, maybe there's still hope for today. I just hope I don't spill mustard on this new tie. Good thing I've got my bib.
You have a bib?
You don't?
Tasty Catering's picnic menu has all the delicious summertime food favorites you crave and more. Go to tastycatering.com to peruse mouth-watering picnic menus and start planning your picnic today. tastycatering.com.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for upstream-ideas.com. When are you all going to start standing up for the majority? And here's who the majority is. I'm the majority. We're the first ones taxed and the last ones considered, and the first ones punished when something like this happens because our rights are the ones being taken away. That was part of a beautifully delivered commentary by law-abiding everyman Mark Robinson at a Greensboro, North Carolina City Council meeting. Robinson's I am Spartacus moment was in response to a debate over whether to cancel a local gun show in the wake of the Parkland school shooting. We demonize the police and we make the criminals into victims and we're talking about restricting guns? Robinson continued. I want to live in Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. He laid out the bill of particulars for the people who play by the rules only to get fleeced by the political ruling class they finance and ridiculed in the process. Most importantly, Mark Robinson reminded us that this grand experiment in representative Republican government rises or falls based on the civic engagement of the Mark Robinsons in America. It's not enough to applaud Mark Robinson. We must emulate him. I am Mark Robinson.
If you have pain, listen up. Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So, Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
Every business needs great people, and the better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. No wonder 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. Goodbye post and pray. Hello ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire.
Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/talkradio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/talkradio.
You work hard to recruit the best talent for your business, so you know today's candidates want perks they can enjoy every day.
Give them the healthy, active office culture they're looking for with Veridesk Standing Desk Solutions. The new Veridesk ProDesk 60 Electric is a commercial-grade electric standing desk that lets you sit or stand with the touch of a button, and it assembles in under 5 minutes. To learn more about the ProDesk 60 Electric, visit veridesk.com/radio. That's VARIdesk.com/radio.
Dan Proft here, and you're invited to join me at the Judson University World Leaders Forum on April 19th. This year, the forum features former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich and former Governor of Vermont Howard Dean. The topic of this year's forum, a bipartisan conversation about leadership in divided times. The World Leaders Forum features 2 events, a community event held at Judson University in Elgin at 2 p.m. on April 19th, to hear from both Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean before a Q&A session. Then at 5 p.m. that evening, the World Leaders Forum continues at the Hilton Chicago Hotel at a signature VIP reception featuring a photo opportunity with both Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean. A portion of the ticket is tax deductible, with proceeds funding the Judson Leadership Scholarships, innovative entrepreneurial activities, and sustaining the World Leaders Forum. I'm excited to be moderating this year's event, so join me at the Judson University World Leaders Forum with Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean. Get your tickets today at judsonu.edu/WLF. That's judsonu.edu/WLF.
5:57, a check of the morning commute. We do that in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. I-57 southbound is responding to a reported crash north of Manhattan-Moni Road. North side, Kedzie remains blocked Devon to Rosemont for a major overnight wreck. Edens looks good. Kennedy inbound, just a 1 or 2 minute delay from 190 to Cumberland. Outbound, it's clear. About Eisenhower, delay started 25th. It's 34 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 32. The crash at Central moved to the left shoulder. Stevenson already 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan 24 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Lakeshore Drive is for Soldier Field of a crash reported. Traffic is the service of Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. It's also the place with national brands like Scott's, Miracle Grow, Ortho, and Roundup, and the local expertise you need to grow the lawn and garden you've always wanted. Stop by Ace today to stock up on everything you need for the season. Only at Ace, the helpful place. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. The latest with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, breezy, and cool with a shower or thunderstorm around from late morning on, high 55. Cloudy and breezy tonight with occasional rain and a thunderstorm with a low tonight of 40. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 40 degrees. The news, a service of TheraWorks Relief. To prevent muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief. Fast-acting foam, clinically proven to relieve leg and foot cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today at select Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid pharmacies or TheraWorksRelief.com. Ask your pharmacist for TheraWorks Relief. 5:59. And here are the stories we're following on AM 560, The Answer. One man dead, another person hurt following a crash on Chicago's northwest side. An investigation underway after a human leg was pulled from the Des Plaines River near Lockport. It will be up to a randomly chosen member of the Chicago Police Board to decide if an officer involved in a controversial fatal shooting 3 years ago should be fired. Illinois lawmakers want county sheriffs and local election managers to work together to help jail inmates vote. Pirates over the Cubs was the Twins over the White Sox. Fire and Galaxy hit the pitch this weekend. WIND, Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Lion Comey. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's the website Republicans have put up in response to James Comey's new book. The FBI director President Trump fired is firing back. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, excerpts from Comey's tell-all book, A Higher Loyalty, are rolling out ahead of next week's release. In it, he compares President Trump to a mob boss who's untethered to the truth. He also says the president sought to blur the line between law enforcement and politics and tried to pressure him on the Russia probe. The book also reveals new details about his decision-making in handling the Hillary Clinton email investigation before the 2016 election. President Trump fired Comey and has called him a liar. Dave.
Rachel, there's a hearing today in court in New York on the FBI raids targeting the president's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, this week. The president called that an attack on our country. President Trump still mulling his options on a military strike in Syria. Defense Secretary Mattis told a House hearing no decision's been made yet, but added,
"Some things are simply inexcusable, beyond the pale."
Referring to last weekend's poison gas attack, an international chemical weapons inspection team arrives today to start investigating where it reportedly happened. Meanwhile, Syria and Russia deny it.
Russia has requested another emergency meeting at the United Nations on the crisis. The Secretary General of the UN has written the Security Council saying that he urges all countries to act responsibly during these dangerous circumstances.
That's Fox's David Lee Miller in our Middle East Bureau. They're in mourning in Massachusetts, where a police officer in Yarmouth was gunned down yesterday.
Officer Gannon and his police dog Nero were part of a team of officers serving a probation warrant. Authorities say the subject of that warrant, 29-year-old Thomas Latanowicz, shot Gannon in the head.
That's Ted Daniel with Fox 25 TV. He says Latanowicz later surrendered after a standoff with police. He has 111 prior criminal offenses. Now he'll be charged with murder. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Larry Elder live in Chicago for Cigar Night on Thursday, May 17th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Larry will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets start at $29 and include a cigar. Get your tickets at 560theanswer.com/cigar before they sell out. Sponsored by Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And from Democrats' bête noire to their cause celeb, the Jim Comey story. And we're going to be hearing a lot about it for, I'm sure, at least the next week, because you've got excerpts from his forthcoming book that's released next week.
Yeah, on Tuesday.
Already being released. You got an interview with Clinton Foundation Zero on Sunday night.
The big reveal. Do we have that?
And
the shocker.
And here's the thing about
story of a lifetime.
And I mean, think about how much fanfare Michael Wolff's dubious novel received. Now compare that to what Jim Comey has to say or doesn't have to say. And just to set a bit of a foundation, remember Jim Comey standing with Democrats not so long ago versus his standing with Democrats now. He's just a means to their ends now.
Democrats have been very critical of James Comey, and many of us did call for his resignation.
Well, I was appalled by what Director Comey did.
Comey acted in an outrageous way.
He made a mistake. Maybe he's not in the right job.
Howard Dean, former Democratic candidate for president, says, quote, he may have destroyed the credibility of the FBI forever.
This was a very serious error in judgment.
The president ought to fire Comey immediately, and he ought to initiate an investigation.
What he did was unprecedented and outrageous, damaged the institution of law enforcement in this country.
The lowest moment in the history of the FBI.
I found it hard to believe that Comey, who I thought had some degree of integrity, would do this.
all I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility. That's it.
Are they walking into the set of Shark Tank?
Sanders, Schumer, Pelosi, No Justice, No Peace, Maxine to close it out. That's a video the RNC put together, but it's the words of those Democrat Pauls, unfiltered. And so just to remember where they were when Jim Comey wasn't doing their bidding as compared to where they'll be for the next week when he is.
All right. So the excerpts are out from the book. CNN had them around midnight last night. And what are your favorite parts? I mean, he describes the Trump's presidency as a forest fire. He compares him to a mob boss because when he said, okay, will you be loyal? Will you give me your loyalty? He considered that to be wrong and a bit bullying. And he talked about that during his confirmation or during his Senate hearings.
Because I was playing in my mind, because I was going to remember every word he said. I was playing in my mind, what should my response be? And that's why I very carefully chose the words. And look, I've seen the tweet about tapes. Lordy, I hope there are tapes.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there are there tapes, Dan.
I don't know. It's irrelevant. It's just his testimony. He's a goof. Byron York tweets out, R's and D's on Senate Judiciary Committee had lots of questions for James Comey after he was fired. He refused to talk. Now spends 5 hours with ABC, answered every question, according to ABC's promo. So if he talks to sell books, why not to Congress? That's a good question for Jim Comey that I'm sure Clinton Foundation Donor Zero will not be asking. I mean, it's the some of what's been released already. It's just such put upon sophistry. For example, Comey writes that Obama sat alone with him in the Oval Office in late November and told him, I picked you to be FBI director because of your integrity and your ability. I want you to know that nothing has happened in the last year to change my view. On the verge of tears, Comey told Obama, boy, those were the words I needed to hear. I'm just trying to do the right thing. I know, Obama said. I know. Cue the violins and the makeout scene. Honestly. There it is.
Tears in his eyes.
I mean, seriously? We're supposed to take this guy seriously?
He thinks very highly of himself.
I've heard.
Yeah. But President Trump at one point in time said he was very paranoid about the P tape. I don't know how else to label it. That he allegedly was watching, that President Trump, when he was in Russia, was watching prostitutes do their thing, and then he peed on them. And he said, quote, it bothered him if there was even a 1% chance that his wife Melania thought it was true. He just rolled his eyes, unprompted, explaining why it couldn't possibly be true, because it wasn't, ending by saying he was thinking of asking me to investigate the allegations to prove it was a lie. I said it was up to him.
Yeah. There's other
Same thing I would do.
There's other important excerpts that have been released. Comey ridiculed Trump for being shorter than he anticipated and described Trump as having bright white half moons beneath his eyes. Additionally, he argued that Trump's ties are too long. That's from the Associated Press. Wow, this is going to be a real page turner. This is what I want to hear from a senior law enforcement official, an FBI director, a former federal prosecutor. This is somebody we're supposed to take seriously. He was in charge of the FBI, this guy. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Oh, and the first time we met him, as he extended his hand, I made a mental note to check its size. It was smaller than mine, but did not seem unusually so. Oh, thank you. Okay.
Another important observation, because this is not a petulant child.
I often stared at the soft white pouches under his expressionless blue eyes. I remember thinking in that moment that the president doesn't understand the FBI's role in American life.
And then on important things, he doesn't disclose. So, for example, ABC News reporting, Comey writes that he felt obligated to take more of a personal role as the public face of the Hillary investigation, rather than deferring to then Attorney General Loretta Lynch, in part because of something involving Lynch that he cryptically refers to as a, quote, Development still unknown to the American public to this day, unquote. Government learned of this information in 2016. This development still unknown to the American public to this day. It's 2 years ago. The book reveals nothing about that unknown development described by Comey. He wrote that the unverified material would undoubtedly have been used by political opponents to cast serious doubt on the Attorney General's independence in connection with the Clinton investigation, but he won't describe what that unverified material is, even though he has no problems talking about unverified material as it pertains to President Trump. RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel said Comey's publicity tour is a self-serving attempt to make money and rehabilitate his own image. Yeah, I think that about sums it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. He apologized
about Hillary Clinton. He said, I've read that she felt anger toward me personally, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry that I couldn't do a better job explaining to her and her supporters why I made the decisions I made. But he still defends his handling of the Clinton email investigation.
Of course he does. Jim Comey's never done anything wrong. Jim Comey has always been a paragon of integrity. He just wants to do the right thing. Didn't you hear that exchange with him and Barack Obama before it turned into 50 Shades of Gray between those two? Phil in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I just don't understand this guy. If he has such impeccable integrity and he has such disdain for his boss, the correct thing to do would have been resign.
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. Yeah, I think, thanks for the call, Phil. Right, they were, getting along fine. They had dinners. And by the way, in congressional testimony, Comey didn't trash President Trump. He was employed by him at the time. But now it's, all of these personal characteristics as well as just kind of like dishing like he's a panelist on The View about irrelevancies while he will not answer questions, will not disclose, probably won't even be queried by Clinton Foundation Donor Zero about things like are you telling the truth or is McCabe telling the truth about leaking, for example? Kent in Addison, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Not only is Comey criminally corrupt, which I think that's pretty well documented, the guy's a coward. The guy, he's talking about the sitting president that used to be his former boss, that he acknowledges had every right to fire him, and he wants to get personal. And as you said, he, has one of the most important law enforcement jobs in the country, if not the world, and he wants to attack the president personally. He's just a low-life coward, nothing more.
Yeah, all right. That's also a good sum, Kent. That rivals RNC Chairman McDaniels.
Besides sitting down with George Stephanopoulos, he's also, are you ready for this? He's going to make appearances next week on CBS's Late Night with Stephen Colbert, and he's going to sit down with the ladies from The View.
Of course he is.
Oh, my gosh.
Of course he is, because this is about justifying his book advance.
A large reception is also planned at the Newseum in Washington on Tuesday. They're having a big party.
Why wouldn't he go to soft audiences? Because this is about him making money, justifying the book advance, and rehabilitating his image. So he's going to go to places where he's celebrated and where the inconsistencies that we've described on this show, the previous statements by Democrats on Jim Comey when he wasn't doing their bidding, when he wasn't flocking for them, when he wasn't on the attack against President Trump, even in the most juvenile and personal ways, when he wasn't behaving like so sophomorically, those will be cast aside. You think Whoopi Goldberg's going to bring that up?
Joy Behar, yeah.
Come on.
Well, the RNC, said that they have a book parody for, a higher loyalty. That's what he said, because they said a higher loyalty to me, myself, and I. Just me, myself, and
I love De La Soul. That's a great song, and I remember De La Soul.
You're going to sing it?
No.
Oh, come on, you don't know the words. So that's their parody. It's a higher loyalty. It's just me, myself, and I. The James Comey lie book.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one. Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, I couldn't hear you there. Oh, President Trump may pardon Scooter Libby. We'll have all the details. And later, too tall for basketball? Is it possible? Well, it happened to one local player. But first, here is your forecast, and it's pretty nasty. Today, a high of just 55 degrees with thunderstorms around late this morning. Tonight, clouds, rain, possible thunderstorm, a low of 38. And tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to have breezy conditions, occasional rain and drizzle, just a yucky day, a high of 42. On Sunday, clouds, breezy, a couple of showers, a high of just 40 degrees, but things should get better hopefully around Tuesday, because on Monday, guys, we could have snow in the morning. All right, let's be done with that and move into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Highland Park, a crash southbound 41 south of Deerfield Road. North side of Chicago, Kedzie, still closed between Nevada and Rosemont after a major overnight wreck. Tri-State Tollway southbound, a little heavy this morning. Lawrence to the Irving Park Toll Plaza. Northbound, see mild delays from the Stevenson to before the Kingsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Aiden's a little sluggish approaching the junction. Kennedy, about a 3-minute delay from 190 to Central. The Eisenhower runs 36 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 31. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 24 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Mission 4 just a little heavy, Cottage Grove to the Merge. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Rain is coming this weekend, and will your basement leak? You know, many people say, well, my basement leaks only when it rains. Well, you don't worry about your living room getting wet, do you? Then why do you want to worry about your basement? Permaseal believes that your basement should be dry all the time, no matter how hard it rains. You can have a permanently dry basement, so give Permaseal a call at 800-421-SEAL, S-E-A-L. They offer a free estimate and transferable warranties, so you can rest assured you're getting the best deal. You know, back in 1979, Roy Spencer started Permaseal, and it's still a local Chicagoland business whose purpose is to make the world a better place, one basement or crawl space at a time. Your basement is already dry some of the time, but if you want your basement dry all of the time, you know who to call. Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325, or go to permaseal.net.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because of my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
A good parking lot is essential to a good building and a good business.
This is Kevin Berquist. My company is SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. Great parking lots. The name says it all. We make your parking lot great. We are an industry leader in seal coating. You can trust our company to do the work for your company. We have the same traditional values as you. We use a process and application that makes sure you get a great job that lasts a long time. I guarantee you'll have a good experience. Check it out, GreatParkingLots.com.
Go to GreatParkingLots.com. Schedule a free inspection and get a quote to make your parking lot a great parking lot. Special early season discounts if you act now. Save the expense. Fix, don't replace. Contact SKC Construction now for commercial parking lot seal coating and maintenance. SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. GreatParkingLots.com.
For years, you've heard of St. John's Northwestern Military Academy, serving young men with an outstanding education and preparation for life. Now that same experience is available for your daughter. With summer vacation right around the corner, now is a great time to register your son or daughter for summer camp at St. John's Northwestern Military Academy in the beautiful region of southwest Wisconsin. It's a time to refocus from the distractions of life and explore the potentials in many areas of life. There's Camp St. John's Northwestern with 4 one-week sessions of outdoor activities for 10 to 16-year-olds and summer school for 5 weeks to recover credits or get ahead for full credit. Limited registration for co-ed summer camp is happening now, as well as the year-round school application process. Hurry, space is limited. For more information, call 1-800-SJ-CADET. That's 1-800-SJ-CADET, or visit their website, sjnma.org. That's sjnma.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I want to get to the prospect of President Trump pardoning former Vice President Dick Cheney's chief of staff, Scooter Libby, who, of course, you remember was tried by Special Prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald. He formerly the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, and was convicted of lying to the FBI, obstructing justice, sentenced to 30 months in jail. President George W. Bush commuted his prison sentence but did not pardon him. And now President Trump is reportedly, according to ABC News, prepared to pardon Scooter Libby. Do you agree with that pardon? Do you remember the case? I'll refresh your recollection shortly. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. But first, just on the matter of our previous conversation about Jim Comey and whatnot, Doug in St. Cloud, Minnesota, you're about to get blizzarded.
Oh, I know. I'm headed back there. I'm in Ohio now, and I got to go back this weekend. So,
good luck.
I think that Donald Trump should ramp up this investigation on Uranium One because it exposes Comey, it exposes Mueller, everybody that was involved that signed off on this thing, and that will take Comey's and Mueller's focus off of Trump and put it on saving their own butts and covering up their information they have hidden. This is ridiculous. He has more patience than any man I've ever seen, anybody I've ever seen.
Thanks for the call, Doug. Yeah, I mean, that's actually a good point. Thanks for the call, Doug. I know you've got House committees looking into Uranium One, but that's not the same thing. And this is an issue, an investigation where I think Jeff Sessions can get around having to recuse himself because he said recuse himself with regard to anything related to the 2016 campaign. This may have been an issue that came up in the 2016 campaign against Hillary, thanks to Peter Schweizer's book, Clinton Cash. But it doesn't mean it's an issue that directly relates to the 2016 campaign. In other words, it relates to the Secretary of State, the State Department when Hillary was there, and other matters that have nothing to do with the 2016 campaign. So I agree with you. I think that should be investigated. I think it's a very, very curious case.
Different rules for different people.
Well, yeah. And so
and different rules for the Clintons.
A perfect segue to Scooter Libby. Remember Scooter Libby? This was about the revelation of Joe Wilson's wife, Valerie Plame, her status as an undercover CIA agent,
right?
Covert CIA agent, right?
Okay.
And it was suggested, argued, prosecuted by Patrick Fitzgerald that it was Scooter Libby who outed Valerie Plame, exposed her cover.
Leaked it to the media?
Well, exposed it.
Okay.
Not true. And part of it was to Judith Miller, New York Times reporter, right? Not true. We know that it was Richard Armitage, the Deputy Secretary of State at the time, who did that. In addition to that, Judith Miller, in her memoir from a couple years back, A Reporter's Journey, exposed the unscrupulous conduct by one celebrated prosecutor in Chicago, Patrick Fitzgerald. Just because he convicted Rod Blagojevich doesn't mean that he is without fault. Who watches the watchmen? Who prosecutes the prosecutors? All the time. Not just they do something good, and that means they'll always do good. No, not in the Scooter Libby case. Malicious prosecution. Patrick Fitzgerald has not had to account for it. He should. Judith Miller wrote in her memoir that Fitzgerald induced her to give what she now, this is her writing, present tense, remember, what she now realizes was false testimony. By withholding critical information and manipulating her memory as he prepared her to testify, Judith Miller related that Fitzgerald steered her in the wrong direction. And don't forget, Fitzgerald jailed Judith Miller.
Right, for not testifying.
For not disclosing sources.
Right.
Yeah.
And she pled the Fifth Amendment. She didn't want to disclose her sources. And as a journalist, you can do that. It's her right.
And her inaccurate testimony was key in convicting Scooter Libby. The Peter Berkowitz had a good piece in the Wall Street Journal a couple of years ago on this topic on the occasion of Judith Miller's release of her memoir. And he recounts, it's a nice summary of the conventional wisdom on this, probably what you remember, because this is the D.C. D.C. press corps narrative that was pushed. The conventional view, in the summer of 2003, Libby compromised national security by unlawfully outing a covert CIA agent. Mr. Libby's supposed purpose was to punish the agent's husband, who challenged President George W. Bush's assertion in the 2003 State of the Union address that the British government learned that Iraq had sought the purchase of African uranium. According to the standard anti-Bush account, when Mr. Libby became enmeshed in a federal investigation, he lied to conceal his crime and protect his boss, Vice President Dick Cheney. This account, writes Peter Berkowitz, is false in all essential respects. Mr. Fitzgerald had reason as well as an ethical obligation as an officer of the court to know, which we know he did. Scooter Libby didn't out her. That was Armitage. Presidential aide Karl Rove and then CIA Director of Public Affairs Bill Harlow confirmed Armitage's disclosure. He disclosed it to Robert Novak of that disclosure occurred for Novak's July 14th, 2003 column. Fitzgerald didn't charge anyone with leaking Flame's identity or disclosing classified information to reporters. From the moment he took over the FBI leak investigation in 2003, he knew Mr. Armitage was the leaker, but declined to prosecute him, Mr. Rove, or the CIA Public Affairs Director because the disclosure of Mrs. Flame's identity wasn't a crime and didn't compromise national security. He nonetheless pursued someone to prosecute, eventually focusing on Libby. And this was a sham prosecution. And so not only should his sentence have been commuted, he should be pardoned because there's no basis for his conviction. And one of Fitzgerald's key witnesses in the case lays it out in her memoir. But when this happens, if it happens as ABC News is suggesting it will, but with the hue and cry that will come from the Beltway. You know it.
You don't think they'll report the facts? Do you think they'll quote Judith's memoirs, which they should?
No, they'll recount the narrative that they pushed at the time to back Patrick Fitzgerald because, of course, he was targeting, the dark Siths, the Sith Lord of Dick Cheney's chief of staff, and he is a Bush guy. That was back when Bush was Hitler. Before, fast forward more than a decade now that Trump's Hitler. Remember, everybody who's not a man or woman of the left is Hitler. You understand that. And so the rule of law is suspended. The ends justify the means when it comes to taking out a Scooter Libby, a Bush, a Cheney, a Trump, a whoever. Ken in Plainfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I have to agree 100% with what you say. When I saw the news, I thought it's about time. It was one of my biggest disappointments in George Bush that he didn't immediately pardon him on the sham conviction, because even before he was convicted, everybody knew it was a lie. And to me, this is kind of a shot across the bow by Trump, if he does it, saying we're not going to put up with it again. And I think it's due in both cases.
Thanks for the call, Ken. Is Patrick Fitzgerald still a partner at Skadden Arps in Chicago? Because I can't wait for this pardon to be issued. And then
see if local reporters run to him to get his reaction.
For our intrepid press corps to go after Patrick Fitzgerald and not just get a reaction, but also
confront him.
Recount all that I just recounted. What do you think the chances of that are? Slim and none and Slim left town?
1 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, right now we would like to thank Clay Stroup. Clay Stroup for listening to AM 560 The Answer. Clay Stroup, thanks for making Chicago's Morning Answer and to AM 560 part of your day. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk to our friend Colonel Jim Carafano, U.S. Army veteran, author of the book Surviving the End, about both the Pompeo confirmation hearing yesterday as well as what to do in Syria at 6:36.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Here in Chicago, things are cooling off just a little bit this morning. We're at 40 degrees at 6:31. Pentagon Chief Jim Mattis counseling patients this morning and caution in responding to the Syrian government's suspected chemical attack on a Damascus suburb. Mattis made that plea during a White House meeting yesterday. GOP House Speaker Paul Ryan rejecting assertions that the president is dithering on Syria.
He is taking a very deliberate and careful response and approach to this, and I don't want to get ahead of what he's going to plan on doing.
During a Capitol briefing yesterday, the Wisconsin Republican said he hopes the U.S. response is part of an international effort. House Republicans plan to tighten restrictions for food stamps. Republicans put a provision inside a farm bill which would dramatically expand state workfare requirements for food stamp recipients. Teachers in Kentucky are lining up at the Capitol for what they call a protest. It's a day of action, they say, after classes were canceled, so teachers can protest this week's signing of a bill that revamped teacher pension benefits there. This morning, security is very tight at the annual Coachella Music Festival. It gets underway in California. Organizers say many there are still thinking about the mass shooting at a festival in Las Vegas just 6 months ago. One man is dead and another man severely hurt after a crash on Chicago's northwest side. An investigation continues after a human leg was pulled from the Des Plaines River near Lockport. DNA testing is being done to determine that person's identity. One woman is dead following a crash in Elgin. Police say the victim was driving last night when she lost control and hit a utility pole near McDonald and Corin Roads. Chicago sports found Pirates cruising past the Cubs 6-1 at Wrigley Field. Jose Barrios struck out 11. Twins shut out the White Sox in the first of 4 at Target Field. The news is a service of Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. It's also the place with national brands like Scott's Miracle-Gro, Ortho, Roundup, and the local expertise you need to grow the lawn and garden you've always wanted. Stop by Ace today to stock up on everything you need for the season. Only at Ace, the helpful place. 6:33 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains the best way to stop a school shooter.
The only way to stop these people is by shooting them. Obviously, some can be stopped in advance. The issue of if we have more gun laws, these people will be stopped. If they really were to work, then we would have to seriously consider them.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Get your truly free credit score and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma. Download the Credit Karma app today. Credit Karma. Get knowing.
The following is a paid political announcement.
It's still hard to tell the difference between Congressman Todd Rokita and Congressman Luke Messer. Rokita and Messer are two career politicians, and for nearly 30 years, they've lived on the taxpayer dole. 30 years. They're both lawyers who never practiced, and their records in Congress are the same too. In Washington, Todd Rokita and Luke Messer voted to fast-track Obama's bad trade deals, to add $500 billion to our debt, and even to fund liberal priorities like Obama's executive amnesty, not to mention funding for abortion provider Planned Parenthood. In fact, Todd Rokita and Luke Messer have voted the exact same way in Congress 95% of the time. It's true. This election, remember, Todd Rokita and Luke Messer are the same. They're two career politicians, and they're wrong for Indiana.
I'm Mike Braun, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store, featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
It is 6:36. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. South of Chicago, we had a report of a wrong-way driver, a crash on I-57. We're seeing some delays as that crash is cleaned up. The delays are in the area southbound on 57, Stonkel Road before Manhattan Monee Road. Northbound, everything appears to be open. The Edens inbound is heavy now, starting around Peterson Avenue. 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, up on 19. Kennedy, 33 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, up on 27. The Eisenhower is 43 minutes from 390 to the Burns Circle, up on 32 minutes. Stevenson, 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 is fine north of I-80. Issue 4, you've got a 2-minute delay at Cottage Grove to the Ryan. North on Tri-State, slow pockets between the Stevenson and 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Traffic is the service of Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks. It's also the place with national brands like Scott's, Miracle Grow, Ortho, and Roundup, and the local expertise you need to grow the lawn and garden you've always wanted. Stop by Ace today to stock up on everything you need for the season. Only at Ace, the helpful place. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast comes to us from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Cloudy and cooler with a thunderstorm expected from around late morning on, high 55. Currently 40. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella, Sunday mornings starting at 8.
Hey, Joe Walsh here. You know what? I think President Trump has a great opportunity if he just does his job. The American people will be with him. We'll talk about that when Freedom returns at 5.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. What to do in Syria? And the continuing back and forth, which is not unusual and not unprecedented, in terms of responsibility for the chemical attack in Douma that killed 42 and injured and sickened hundreds more. Bashar Jafari, who is the the Syrian ambassador to the UN, addressed that, suggesting that, of course, the Assad regime was not responsible. This is, conspiracy theory promulgated by the Americans in the West.
I hope you are not naive to pose such a question after all what you have heard from all parts. We denied maybe 1,001 time, similar to 1,001 nights, the Arabian Nights. We denied 1,001 time using any chemical substances against our own people. And we provided all the necessary and required justifications for saying that. So it's time to digest and metabolize what we are saying.
Do you have any versions on who might have used them on civilians?
We said it many times. Of course, the terrorists have acquired chemical substances from Libya a long time ago, from the Libyan stock. But this operation was facilitated by the Turkish intelligence, the Saudi intelligence, and the American and French intelligence services.
Okay, so they did it.
So there's one layer of spin from the Syrians. Mattis was before, Mad Dog Mattis, Secretary of Defense, before the House Armed Services Committee yesterday, talking about the prospect of a Syrian strike. Since the president tweeted about it, Congress became very interested in it.
It's a point of contention with some. It sounded like not if, but when we're going to strike, according to that tweet.
Yeah, understandable. Here's what Jim Mattis had to say about both the tactical and strategic concerns he has with the reality on the ground in Syria at present.
Well, there's a tactical concern, ma'am, that innocent people, we don't add to any civilian deaths and do everything humanly possible to avoid that. We're trying to stop the murder of innocent people. But on a strategic level, it's how do we keep this from escalating out of control, if you get my drift on that.
Let's see if our friend Jim Carafano gets Secretary Mattis's drift. We're pleased to be joined to discuss these topics by Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano, U.S. Army veteran, author of Surviving the End and Wiki at War, Conflict in a Socially Networked World, also the Director of Foreign Policy Studies at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, thanks for joining us and appreciate it.
Hey, good to be with you.
So what about, let's start with Mattis and worried about the situation in Syria escalating if you get his drift. What is his drift?
Well, look, you never take the use of coercive force lightly. Mattis is a guy who spent his whole life in the trenches and understands that, and so you never walk blindly into these things. And I think that's the kind of advice and sober reflection we expect from our military advisors. I think the likelihood of escalation here is kind of limited because the Russians and Syrians and Iranians are all fighting together, but they all have very different objectives. I mean, the Russians don't want to see this thing spin out of control. The Russians already have what they want. They have the ports, gives them access to the Mediterranean. Assad's firmly established. They have an ally. They have a bloc to keep ISIS from coming into Russia. They have a lot of business dealings in Damascus. Those are secure. So the Russians are the happy power. Assad wants all his territory back. And, honestly, the Russians, Iranians are happy to fight to the last Syrian. But, there's nothing in it for the Russians to take that last square inch of territory. And Iran wants a strategic superhighway that runs up to the Israeli border so they can threaten the Israelis. That's good for the Iranians, but that doesn't do anything for the Russians. So I don't see what's in it for the Russians to see this thing spiral out of control.
Well, what's in it for us? I mean, clearly something needs to be done. Last time we struck pretty much an empty airfield in Syria. If we do something, what are we targeting?
So if we go back and review the history, last time after we did the strike, basically we said, look, the unrestrained use of chemical weapons is not helpful. It escalates the conflict. It puts more refugees on the road, and it interferes with our mission, which is what we're trying to do is to crush ISIS. And the regime pretty much stayed out of the way for almost a year until we really finished that mission. And then what happened is the Assad regime was looking for an opportunity to essentially expand their territorial control. So if you remember that the convoy that came down and was attacked by U.S. forces, which killed not only Syrian military, but we also believe Russian mercenaries or contractors. And then this latest round of chemical attacks. And I think what the United States would be justified in doing again is doing a strike to send a signal, hey, we're trying to accomplish our objectives here, and winding the war up and expanding refugees is not helpful. So look, we don't care about Syria per se. I mean, the Assad family's been our enemy forever. It doesn't really matter. What we don't want is we don't want to leave conditions in Syria where ISIS comes rolling back and we have another caliphate, where Israel and Iran wind up bumping against each other and having a war, where the problems of Syria spill over into Iraq and Jordan, or where we have masses of refugees on the road like we did 2 years ago, which are putting pressure on the nearby states and dumping into Western Europe and destabilizing Western Europe.
Is there any question in your mind that the Assad regime directed that chemical attack respond to Bashar Jafari's response to the U.S.?
Right. Well, I found his response pretty fatuous, but I'm not access to classified intelligence. So, we just have to kind of do an Occam's razor thing here. It's just, the regime's done this before. Two, it's not difficult for them to get access to this kind of a chemical weapon. Three, they're in control in this region, and they are the responsible party regardless. Four, we have critical medical reports that people were actually injured by chemical weapons, including blood analysis, which suggests that. So from just looking at the available evidence from the outside, it's highly credible. And the other thing which you have to take into account is the more the Russians and the Syrians ramp up a disinformation and denial campaign, frankly, the more guilty it makes them look.
Yeah. I want to switch gears and talk about Mike Pompeo. He was before the Senate yesterday for his confirmation hearing for Secretary of State. What's your assessment of his the job performance to this point as CIA director and the prospects of Secretary of State Pompeo?
I've heard zero criticism, serious criticism of his time at the CIA. People inside the CIA actually thought it was a breath of fresh air in terms of management direction. Much less politicized intelligence coming up to the White House. Much less political correctness in the conduct of CIA operations. So I think people were generally pleased with his tenure at CIA.
Couldn't wait to get rid of Brennan, huh?
He's got a good resume. I think the hearing went fine. I think it's extremely likely that he'll get confirmed.
Okay. Back to Syria real quick. There's one more question I wanted to ask besides the chemical weapons that are being dropped. How many hospitals have been bombed, and is there any way to get the UN to try and stop that from happening?
Well, I think it's very difficult to establish some kind of safe zone. The problem is everybody has what they need. In other words, everybody's core interests are really not threatened here. On the other hand, when any side tries to press its control, it winds up bumping into somebody. We've seen this over and over again in the last few months. So they expand and they bump into Turkey, and then the Iranians push and they bump into the Israelis, and the Israelis do an attack on the Iranians. It's very, very difficult to see how anybody really expands their interests without creating a larger conflict, and it's very difficult to see that we're on the seams of that conflict. You can have any kind of protection from the UN or anything else. We've had ceasefires before and everything else. Nothing really. The only thing that's going to work is essentially what the U.S. is arguing here, which is through coercion and diplomacy and our other activities, trying to convince people to just kind of cool it and de-escalate the conflict.
Yeah, it's difficult to create safe zones when you have a regime that is dropping barrel bombs on the civilian population.
Absolutely. And what we really just need is a cold look. I'm not sure there's an answer. I don't think there's a good answer here, right? But a cold peace where everybody's just kind of frozen in place of what they have is it's not a good answer, but it's a better answer than a bad answer.
He is Colonel Jim Carafano, U.S. Army vet, author of Surviving the End, as well as Wiki at War, Conflict in a Socially Networked World. Foreign Policy Studies Director at the Heritage Foundation. Also, if you want to catch Jim's musings on an even broader range of topics at upstream-ideas.com and our Against the Current series. I've sat down to do a couple of interviews with Jim over the last couple of years. Always very insightful and informative. Jim, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Roger. Dad, thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
I'm Lou Dobbs. President Trump touting his tax cuts and their benefits. More background checks for Uber drivers. The Pentagon stops deliveries of the new Lockheed F-35 jet fighters. Those stories next.
Hi, this is Jack from Banyan Hill. You might have heard about that $34.6 billion that's expected to be doled out in what we call freedom checks. Huge checks that are changing people's lives from coast to coast. People like Sean from Pittsburgh. In fact, he's on the phone right now. Sean, you there?
Yes, I am, Jack.
Sean, let me ask you, how do you like getting these massive checks in your mailbox every month?
Well, Jack, we used to put stuff on credit cards living paycheck to paycheck. But now, after we started collecting a specific kind of freedom check, I have to say, life's a lot more fun.
I bet it is. In fact, getting massive freedom checks is fun no matter who you are. And with $34.6 billion expected to be paid out in private, non-government money starting as early as May 1st, now's the time to stake your claim on some cash. To get all the details, go to www.freedomchecks126.com before the May 1st deadline. That's www.freedomchecks126.com.
President Trump says the tax cuts he signed into law are energizing an already strong economy. He touted the Republican-approved tax cuts during a ceremony in the Rose Garden, a theme he's likely to revisit often as congressional elections approach. The president said the tax cuts have led to pay raises, bonuses, and job growth. Uber says it will begin, after all, annual criminal background checks on its drivers and hire a company that constantly monitors criminal arrests. Those steps come as Uber tries to do a better job of keeping its riders safe. The Defense Department says it stopped accepting deliveries of F-35 jet fighters from Lockheed Martin because of a contractual dispute over fixing a production error. The F-35 makes up a fourth of Lockheed's total revenue. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do each morning on this show. Long-form interviews with opinion leaders and policymakers like Jim Carafano, our last guest. That's on our Against the Current series. This week, the new interview features a friend of the show, Burgess Owens, NFL Super Bowl champion, and now somebody who's, after a successful career in business, works to turn around young people who've made a mistake in their lives. Got a lot of interesting things to say, including about the direction of the NFL, by the way, and its disposition towards American fans. You want to check out that interview with Burgess Owens. Our series, Heart of the Matter, which features professional women speaking collegially about the important issues of the day. 60 Seconds of Sanity commentaries from me. Podcast of our Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics that airs Sundays at 3 p.m. on these airwaves. And then don't forget our sister site, defendhomeowners.com, defendhomeowners.com, where you can get a free property tax report on your home, as well as updated information on home sales in your area in 2017. Give you a little sense of what the market portends for you. All the property tax and home sale info at defendhomeowners.com. Everything else at upstream-ideas.com.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Save more with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Hey, Todd, Liberty Mutual just saved me $782.
Liberty did what?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Maybe I should switch to Liberty Mutual.
Visit us online to... Hey, stop echoing.
Sorry.
Visit us online to get a quote, and you could save $782. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Based on a recent countrywide new customer survey, coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, Equal Housing Insurer.
Dan Proft here, and you're invited to join me at the Judson University World Leaders Forum on April 19th. This year, the forum features former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich and former Governor of Vermont Howard Dean. The topic of this year's forum, a bipartisan conversation about leadership in divided times. The World Leaders Forum features two events, a community event held at Judson University in Elgin at 2 p.m. on April 19th, to hear from both Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean before a Q&A session. Then at 5 p.m. that evening, the World Leaders Forum continues at the Hilton Chicago Hotel at a signature VIP reception featuring a photo opportunity with both Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean. A portion of the ticket is tax deductible, with proceeds funding the Judson Leadership Scholarships, innovative entrepreneurial activities, and sustaining the World Leaders Forum. I'm excited to be moderating this year's event, so join me at the Judson University World Leaders Forum with Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean. Get your tickets today at judsonu.edu/WLF. That's judsonu.edu/WLF.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Dr. Howard has made a great product. I'm so glad that I started taking it.
I listened to all the commercials on the radio. I said, they're right. They're right. I can verify they're right. I feel younger than my years. That make me feel good.
I've been very delighted with Balance of Nature. I have not had a cold in probably 2 or 3 years, whatever I'm on your program. And I also have been told that I don't look my age, which is another good thing because my skin is so nice.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store. Featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
Quality doors and windows are one of the smartest investments you can make. They improve your home's appearance and save you money on energy bills year-round. Say goodbye to high-pressure sales tactics and enjoy the best window and door experience with Next Door & Window. Call now and schedule your free quote, 630-590-1370, or go online to nextdoorandwindow.com. Next Door & Window has wood-clad, vinyl, and fiberglass windows and doors. Their staff will help you find exactly what you want. Right now, get 10% off windows and doors with no money down and no payments for 1 year. Call 630-590-1370 or go to nextdoorandwindow.com to schedule your free quote. Choose from 3 showrooms in Chicagoland, Arlington Heights, Burr Ridge, and Naperville. Call 630-590-1370 or go to nextdoorandwindow.com to schedule your free quote and for finance qualifications.
Next Door and Window, thousands of options, one perfect fit.
If you're looking to purchase a firearm, here's a great offer. In April, Schranks will give you 2 free boxes of range ammo with a firearm purchase. For over half a century, generations of customers shop Schranks Smoke and Gun for the family atmosphere and the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms in Lake County, including pistols, rifles, shotguns, hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles. There's on-site gunsmith services from simple cleaning to complete rebuilds. For your first firearm or adding to your collection, visit Schranks Smoke and Gun. And cigar lovers, you'll find your favorites in Schranks humidors, along with a broad selection of pipes and tobacco. Visit smoke, the letter N, gun.org, or call 847-662-4034. And check Facebook and Instagram for all the current specials, including the 2 boxes of range ammo with a firearm purchase. Drive north and save on taxes at Schranks Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. That's 847-662-4034.
AM 560, The Answer.
Join the Heartland Institute April 18th. That's next Wednesday or something. For dinner to meet James O'Keefe and learn about American Pravda and his efforts to expose the corruption of our so-called mainstream media. Registration starts at $30 online at heartland.org. But today we're giving away a pair of tickets to hear James O'Keefe at the Heartland Institute to the...
Caller number 18, because the event is on Wednesday the 18th.
18. Yeah. Caller number 18 to 312-733-6993. 312-733-6993. Caller number 18 gets two tickets to see James O'Keefe next week.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll tackle the tough topics that Pompeo had to in his confirmation hearing at 7:07.
And later, how somebody could possibly be too tall for basketball, but it's true. Now, here's Mike Scott.
A human leg pulled from the Des Plaines River. WIND, Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
A fired FBI director fires back.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. James Comey, in a new book due out next week, writes President Trump acts like a mob boss.
Attacking President Trump's integrity, saying, quote, "This president is unethical and untethered to truth and institutional values. His leadership is transactional, ego-driven, and about personal loyalty."
Fox's Jackie Ibanez, counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, just reacted on Fox and Friends.
He's taking 1 or 2 or 3 meetings with the president and retroactively putting his own spin on them to sell books. It seems to me like he sounds like a disgruntled ex-employee.
Republicans have set up a Lion Comey website. Still no U.S. airstrikes yet in Syria in response to the reported chemical attack. International inspectors will be on site investigating tomorrow. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, Russia warning the U.S. against responding to the suspected gas attack. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov saying we have irrefutable evidence that this was another staged event and that the secret services of another state were involved. Meanwhile, following President Trump's threat on Twitter that missiles are coming, the Russian Deputy Prime Minister saying international relations should not depend on the mood of one person when he wakes up in the morning. Dave?
Simon, the president tweeted before going to bed late last night he's reconsidering the TPP Pacific trade deal he pulled the U.S. out of last year, but only if it's substantially better. In Cincinnati, police are investigating Tuesday's death of a 16-year-old boy who got crushed and suffocated inside a minivan outside his school when a seat flipped on him. He called 911 twice, describing the van and the location, but officers could not find the Honda.
Something has gone terribly wrong. This young man was crying out for help.
Police Chief Elliot Isaac, the boy told the dispatcher, "If I die, tell my mom I love her." His father found him dead hours later. Fox News, fair and balanced.
In Chicago, we have 40 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. One man is dead, another person badly hurt following a crash on Chicago's northwest side. It happened early this morning near Kedzie and Devon. The driver of a second vehicle died, the other sent to the hospital. The surviving victim could be facing a possible DUI charge, according to Chicago police. Another police shooting lawsuit could cost Chicago taxpayers millions of dollars. City Council may approve a $2.3 million payout next week for a suit brought by Jaquise Evans. Evans was 16 when he was shot and wounded by Chicago police officer Richard Salvador in 2015. The suspect in a triple murder in Rockford is pleading not guilty. Raheem King stood before a judge yesterday to answer charges in the deaths of 3 from the Rockford area. Police are still not saying why they think King pulled out a rifle and killed the 3 men on a party bus last weekend. Governor Rauner and legislative leaders are setting what they call a framework for this year's budget negotiations. What is that framework? We get the latest from AM 560's David Stewart.
After a meeting in Springfield, Rauner said he has only 3 budget requirements.
A truly balanced budget, a full year budget, not a partial year budget, and no new tax increases.
Senate President John Cullerton says Rauner seems to agree that there needs to be a $1 billion supplemental appropriation just to get through the current fiscal year.
And of course, that's $1 billion that'll just be added on to the $15 billion that we are in the hole right now.
Meaning election year politics could play a role in the budget negotiations. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
Chicago sports was the Pirates over the Cubs 6-1. Jose Barrios struck out 11. Twins blanked the White Sox 4-0. 7:04, we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity just wants jobs to stay in America.
That these auto companies are now building their plants, their factories right here in America, and so many are now committing to doing it. I want American-built cars, and I don't care if it's Honda. I don't care if they're building the cars here and they're American jobs here. That's what I care about.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Building owners and managers. When it comes to maintaining the value of your commercial, industrial, or institutional building, there will be roof repairs or replacements for you to deal with. When you're looking for a good roofing contractor, search the ChicagoRoofing.org website for Chicagoland's best roofing contractors for repairs, replacements, or new construction. And you can check out their innovative roofing work also. All contractors at ChicagoRoofing.org proudly employ members of Roofers Union Local 11 who have undergone 5 years of rigorous training at the country's leading school for roofing, the Chicagoland Roofers Joint Apprenticeship Training Center. ChicagoRoofing.org contractors are at the top of their game and provide Chicagoland's best value for the best roofs all year long. Building owners and managers, you will have roof repairs or replacements to deal with. It's inevitable. Go to ChicagoRoofing.org. That's ChicagoRoofing.org.
.706, the news, a service of Staples with a huge selection of ink and toner in stock and great prices. Right now at Staples, buy 1 HP ink and get a second 30% off so you can stock up and save. Ends 4/14. Restrictions may apply. See store or staples.com for details. Staples. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Mike and Elmhurst have 2 crashes at the intersection of North Avenue and 83. One is northbound near North Avenue. The other is southbound on 83 at North Avenue. Edens runs 21 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Up on 22. Inbound to Kennedy. Delays start at Cumberland. 36 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 18 from Montrose. 15 in the Express. Outbound 13 minutes to Montrose. 33 to O'Hare. On Eisenhower Heavy, 25th Avenue to the Burns Circle. 43 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 31. On Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. 44 from the Tri-State. Outbound 38 minutes to 355. On Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 is fine. Bishop Ford, just a 2-minute delay. Cottage Grove to the Merge. Northbound Tri-State. Bumper to bumper. Archer to Ogden. And from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. It's about Reagan Tollway sluggish. York to the Tri-State. The Veterans Memorial from Maple to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy and breezy with a shower or thunderstorm around. Cool day with a high 55. Breezy tonight, gusts around 35 miles per hour with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, low 40. Still very windy tomorrow, gusts up to 40 miles per hour with rain and drizzle, high 42. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
41 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We've got a bit of a theme developing here with rogue prosecutors. And again, this doesn't indict all prosecutors. It's like when you talk about a police officer who does wrong. But it does remind people to not just accept everything at face value because you're inclined to respect the position, the title, the work of the good in the position. Doesn't excuse the bad of the people in the position. And everybody needs a check and a balance. And so the Eric Greitens case, the Missouri governor. We've talked about special prosecutors headhunting instead of pursuing justice. Patrick Fitzgerald in the Scooter Libby case, I would argue at present, Mueller in the Trump case, and we've seen local prosecutors that think they're going to make their career by prosecuting a high-profile case or a high-profile politician. Think Marilyn Mosby in Baltimore. How'd that work out for her when all those Baltimore police officers were acquitted? Not so well.
I always think of Patrick Fitzgerald when he said Abraham Lincoln would be rolling around in his grave. Oh, the hyperbole.
Right, the statement of a politician, not a prosecutor.
Yeah.
And so the prosecutor in the Eric Greitens case, we talked about this a little bit yesterday because there is a report that's been issued by the legislature in Missouri that includes some
they said
damning. Includes damning testimony from the from the former mistress.
Right.
But it's just her version of events.
Yeah, it was 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats that were on this committee, and they listened to her. They interviewed her. She claims that he blindfolded and bound her to exercise equipment, that he spanked her and he tried to kiss her without her consent, but yet they had a consensual affair for a while. So that just her side of the story. Now, he calls this a witch hunt.
This is a political witch hunt. A jury of my peers will let every person in Missouri know the truth and prove my innocence.
And that trial starts May 14th.
Yes. And yesterday, though, there was a growing chorus of politicians, Republicans and Democrats, who are asking for him to resign before possible impeachment.
It is clear to me that this governor must resign. And if he fails to do so, I believe we should begin impeachment proceedings.
The testimony outlined in the report is beyond disturbing.
But it's just her side of the story.
Well, and again, his attorneys have previously made filings with the court that indicate that in a deposition, the woman, the mistress, said of this photo he allegedly took and was blackmailing her with, that she doesn't remember the photo, and she may have dreamed that he took it. So, and prosecutors dispute, they say they're cherry-picking parts of her deposition. I don't know. I haven't read the transcript of the 9-hour deposition, but I'm just saying there may be more to this case than it sounds. It's easy to say because Eric Greitens did wrong, and I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know. I mean, he's a former Navy SEAL, and I talked to some people who knew him in the SEALs, and they're not actually very high on him. Some people have suggested he was sort of a politician even when he was a Navy SEAL. So I'm not giving like Eric Greitens a stamp of approval. This is a great guy. I don't know.
But this happened before he became governor.
And we know he did wrong.
He talked to his wife about it, and he claimed in January 2017 that the relationship was consensual and that any claim of violence or sexual assault was false.
And then we have the case of the prosecutor in this case.
Who's this?
She is Kim Gardner.
Mm-hmm.
She is St. Louis Circuit Attorney, as I guess they call them down there in Missouri.
Yeah,
Missouri.
They don't have county, they have parishes.
And you say Missouri, not Missouri.
No, well, I say Missouri.
Missouri.
I say with my Chicago accent. Missouri. You're going to go to Missouri?
They hate that. I'm telling you.
Well, that's too bad.
All right, so here's the deal.
Yes.
This is a rundown provided by Dave Grossman, who's a retired military himself, lieutenant colonel in the Army, writing over at thefederalist.com. This is a few weeks ago. But he obviously been following the case. At the initial hearing, when the prosecution admitted to the judge they don't have the evidence to win the trial. That's an odd thing to do. Then there was the moment when prosecutors had to tell the defense that they didn't have the photo that is supposedly the reason for the indictment in the first place. And last but not least, there was the moment when the prosecution allegedly broke the law by bringing on a prosecutor who was serving elsewhere as a criminal defense attorney, which is a crime in Missouri. 5 issues here. 1, the indictment filing looks like according to the indictment filing and its dates, it looks like Ms. Gardner began preparing the paperwork for indictment about 3.5 weeks before she announced she was conducting an investigation. She announced she announced launching her investigation January 11th of 2018.
Yeah.
There's a timestamp on this and the front page of this court filing, 12/22/17.
Well, didn't they convened a grand jury to?
We'll get to that. I
Okay.
understand.
Oh
but
yeah, no, I just want to know where that plays in all
yeah,
this.
it does. But I mean,
She doesn't have the final say. I mean, you need to.
the indictment paperwork begun 20 days before the office publicly became involved in the case. Also,
Practicing?
yeah, well, right, yeah.
If I hypothetically saying if this were to happen, I'm ready.
No, more like I think one would say she has a conclusion. Now she's working backward to get the rationale for it. Bootstrapping what she wants to happen. Also, this issue of breaking Missouri law. A prosecutor in the state cannot also serve as a criminal defense attorney, and so Gardner should know that. Since she's state's attorney, effectively, she invited Professor Ronald Sullivan of Harvard University to join her prosecutorial team. He assigned a $12,000 per month contract to join the team, and when he did that, he committed a misdemeanor, and she became a party to the crime because you cannot be a criminal defense attorney and also serve on a prosecution team. So that's an issue. Wouldn't it be interesting if she's the one who ends up being convicted of a crime? Gardner's assistant prosecutor allegedly misled the grand jury about the indictment. Robert Steele is his name. Again, the evidence they have is the testimony of the aggrieved ex-husband of the mistress, a copy of a secretly recorded audio tape the ex-husband made that was obtained without the victim's consent or knowledge, and that's about it. And Mr. Steele, the assistant prosecutor, allegedly gave a false and misleading statement about the statute the governor is alleged to have violated. This is what's argued by Greitens' defense lawyers. So this is a point of contention, but it is something that the defense attorneys are alleging, which is not necessarily customary. Also, the prosecutors' investigators, when she opened her investigation into January 11th, Kim Gardner, she hired out-of-state private investigators led by a individual who was once under FBI investigation himself. The private investigator, a guy named William Don Tisby, worked for the FBI when he was accused of bigamy.
Bigamy?
Bigamy, and he allegedly lied to the FBI about it.
What?
Right. And then you have the St. Louis police chief who is steering clear of this case. The St. Louis police chief, John Hayden, is not necessarily doesn't have a good working relationship with Gardner, but also suggests that this is a bit of a clown prosecution. And he has been quick to point out to the press that the St. Louis police had no involvement in the Greitens case. Not only did they not investigate, but the chief took issue with Gardner's suggestion that the police had been asked to and didn't. He said, "It makes me frustrated because it's as if she's saying I failed to do something I'm supposed to do here, and that's not the case at all to date. Nobody has tried to report this to the police department."
The hairdresser didn't call police and file charges. We know that for a fact. And the woman went to his house in March of 2015 at his request a number of times. So it seems like consensual, but then she, that one day that he said that he bound her to exercise equipment, began kissing her around her stomach. She said that she began crying and told him to stop. He did. He helped her undo the tape and then hugged her and tried to console her. But then he allegedly forced her to perform oral sex. Didn't force her, but she said she did it because she felt that was the only way she could leave his home. That was the only way out.
And the affair continued.
Yes.
Yeah. So we could have a bit of a turn of events here if Greitens can survive politically to the trial. This prosecution, this case, at least Dave Grossman's summary of it, which I'm relying on, and he does, make specific citations here, it doesn't seem particularly strong. And if Greitens is ultimately acquitted and he turns around and goes after Gardner, both professionally and personally, you may have something that is highly unusual. Somebody that can actually rebound and recover from the allegations that are made against him in this Me Too environment in 2018.
Yeah, but in the meantime, do you think he should step down?
Well,
Because if they're threatening to begin impeachment proceedings.
why would he step down if he's innocent? Other than of, committing adultery, but why would he step down? He's not going to be able to step back in if he's acquitted.
Right.
So why would he step down? No way. If I were in his position, and if everything Dave Grossman writes about in the Federalist checks out, then I'd wait to be acquitted, and then I would go after the prosecutor, and I would, take everything I can say right now, but will be able to say after the trial to the public. I mean, as I pointed out yesterday when we talked about this, I know there's some politicians moving on him to resign or them to start impeachment proceedings. I don't know where the public is in Missouri, but his approval rating
is higher than Ronner's.
Higher. It's a net 35 points higher.
Well,
his approval rating is 40 to 39, so it's suffered some, but there's still a lot of people that are either supporting him or don't believe that this is a legitimate prosecution or some combination of the two.
Yeah, and NBC reporters were there to ask people what they think in Missouri.
I think the innocent until proven guilty is kind of lost in this country right now.
Do you think he's still able to lead?
I think he's lost a lot of respect.
But most people that were questioned said he could still lead.
Yes, I mean impeachment. And by the way, an impeachment takes time. He's 4 weeks away from his trial, and I suspect it'll only be a couple days.
State House and State Senate down there in Missouri, but some Republicans are flipping.
Yeah, because some Republicans, so many Republicans are afraid of even the allegation. They run from any allegation. They run from every fight. I mean, that's what we see here. We have nothing but surrender Republicans here, and surrender is contagious, just like courage is.
But you should remind them that they're just hearing her side of the story.
Yeah, that's right. Mike in Crown Point, Indiana.
Good morning, guys. I wish we had a system here like they do in the UK where if you sue somebody and lose, you've got to pick up the tab for the other person's legal fees. That would end a lot of this lawsuits that are basically put out there just for publicity and to gain revenue for whether it goes south or not.
Starting with the government. Thanks for the call, Mike. Yeah. Steve in Hinsdale.
Yeah, I lived in Missouri and have a degree from the prestigious, show me the prestigious Jesuit University, St. Louis University. Here's my free advice to those in Missouri. Yeah. If you're horny and sleazy, bad things are going to happen to you.
That is good advice.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Steve.
Our moms often told us that when we were growing up,
Well, and I'm not... there may be people horny and sleazy or just sleazy or just horny. I don't know. There's a combination of those categories in this case, it seems to me. But I would say I'm not absolving Greitens for bad acts. He's put himself in this difficult position.
Yeah, I would say he has nobody to blame but himself. But sometimes if you've got an overzealous prosecutor, that can make it that much worse.
Well, right. And so one, he puts himself in a bad situation, and then somebody else potentially cravenly tries to take advantage of it, and that could boomerang on her, just as his little affair boomeranged on him.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
I don't say hairdresser.
I just say you never, because it's unwritten rule, you never have an affair with a hairdresser or a porn star. It never works out well.
I think you're impugning hairdressers.
No, not all of them, but, they know everybody's secrets. Some you can trust and some you can't. The ones you can trust, you stick with.
So the point is...
The point is never
if you're going to have a relationship with a
hairdresser
or a porn star, make sure you can trust them.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Forecast for today, mostly cloudy, a thunderstorm later this morning, a high of 55. Then it's going to be pretty miserable around here the next 72 hours. Low tonight of 38 with a possible thunderstorm. Saturday, occasional rain and drizzle, high of 42, perfect for those lakefront soccer games. And on Sunday, we're going to have breezy conditions, a couple of showers, a high of 40 degrees. Monday's rain or snow in the morning and a high in the upper 30s. But we'll finally get warm back here on Tuesday, where it will be sunny and at least 51. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center after that thorough weather forecast. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Had a lot of crashes this morning. There's one in Elk Grove Village with injuries involved. It's on Meacham, north of Beesterfield. There are two separate crashes on 83 at North Avenue. Hayden's is fairly light. 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Kennedy, 36 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 33. The Eisenhower, 46 minutes, 390 to the Circle, outbound 33 minutes. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to the Drive, outbound 44. Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown, northbound Tri-State. Heavy 87th to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Ike. Northbound Veterans Memorial has a delay from Maple to the Reagan Tollway. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Oh, I feel so well rested, refreshed after spending another evening on my pillow. It's made in America. I love it because it conforms to my neck and back, and I don't wake up with headaches or stiff necks. I actually can't sleep without my pillow. I love it so much. We have 6 My Pillows in the Jacobson household. You can wash it and dry it whenever it gets dirty. That's the best part. Hypoallergenic. There's a 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. And right now we still have that 50% off the 4-pack. What's the 4-pack? Well, 2 premium My Pillows and 2 Go Anywhere My Pillows, 50% off. It's the best deal out there. Take advantage of the My Pillow offer. Go to mypillow.com, type Amy in the promo code AMY, or call 1-800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201, and tell them Amy sent you.
Hey everyone, Ken here from the award-winning company Income Store. If you were lost and scared in a forest, would you rather have a guide map or a guide standing next to you? Both will lead you out of the forest, one's just a bit more expeditious. When it comes to making more money, have you ever felt lost? Does it drive you a little batty when you know there's people out there, teenagers even, that are adding a different revenue stream, even in different industries, each and every year of their lives? Don't you know deep down there has to be a path out of what we call the financial forest? You know it's there, you just haven't found it yet. For almost a decade now, Income Store has provided guide maps to the do-it-yourselfers, the folks that have considerably more time than money, but they've also been the trusted guide to those with more money than time. If you're ready to stop bouncing around this thing we call the financial forest and serious about adding a second, third, or even fourth revenue model to your home or business, then you have to check out the 5-timing 5,000 Income Store. That's incomestore.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
It's helped me tremendously, the product. You know, I cut down on colds. I have more energy. It really helped me with allergies. I mean, I know that they're there when they're ready to kick in, but they don't kick in. And I don't really have as much sugar cravings as I used to have. So it's definitely been really good that I went on this.
I have seen a tremendous change in my skin. My skin looks really, really good, and I love it. I had eczema like on my arm and my elbows and all on my feet. I mean, I was so embarrassed. And now I don't fear anything. I wear my arms out. You know, everything is cleared up so nicely, and I love it. I love it.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Pro-life and a true conservative, Mike Braun is the Christian leader we need in the U.S. Senate. Mike grew up in Jasper, Indiana, and married his high school sweetheart, Maureen. Mike and Maureen came back home after school to raise 4 kids on the same values they grew up on: faith, family, and hard work. 3 of the kids joined the family business, and you'll find the Brauns at church on Sundays. Politicians in Washington have very different values. Let's send Mike Braun to the U.S. Senate to make a difference for us. In Washington, Mike Braun will stand for the right to life, defend traditional family values, and help President Trump confirm strong pro-life judges to the Supreme Court. Christian, pro-life, conservative. Mike Braun for Senate.
I'm Mike Braun, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank.
Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
That's funny. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk about that navel-gazing tour of self-indulgence launched by Jim Comey starting next week with Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, retired intelligence operative and New York Times bestselling author himself at 7:37.
And later, on a very special Dan and Amy, remembering Holocaust Remembrance Day. I know it was yesterday, but today we have a Holocaust survivor on at 8:08. Steen Metz is his name. You don't want to miss it. But now let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Clouds and sun, 41 degrees. Pentagon Chief Jim Mattis counseling patience and caution in responding to the Syrian government's suspected chemical attack on a Damascus suburb.
Our role in Syria is the defeat of ISIS. We are not going to engage in the civil war itself.
Mattis also made that plea during a White House meeting yesterday. House Republicans plan to tighten restrictions for food stamps. Republicans put a provision in a farm bill which would dramatically expand state workfare requirements for food stamp recipients. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti is in a strange place this weekend. Iowa. Of course, that's an early presidential election caucus state. His office says Garcetti will be there to support Democrats leading up to the midterms, but Garcetti has also dropped hints that he wants to run for president. Teachers in Kentucky are lining up at the state capitol for protest. They're calling it a day of action against revamped teacher pension benefits. Security tight as the annual Coachella Music and Arts Festival gets underway. Organizers say they've increased security as many are still thinking about the mass shooting at a country music festival in Las Vegas 6 months ago. An investigation continues after a human leg was pulled from the Des Plaines River near Lockport. One woman dead following a crash in Elgin. Police say the victim was driving last night when she lost control and slammed into a utility pole near McDonald and Corin. The suspect in a triple murder in Rockford pleading not guilty, Raheem King, stood before a judge yesterday to answer murder charges in the trio of deaths. Police are not saying why they think King was the one who pulled out a rifle and killed 3 men on a party bus. New data shows lead was found in the tap water of hundreds of Chicago homes. The Tribune analyzed the results of testing done to determine if a home's drinking water was contaminated with the toxic metal. The analysis showed lead was found in water drawn from nearly 70% of 2,800 homes tested over the past 2 years. Pirates over the Cubs 2-1. Twins shut out the White Sox 4-0. The news service of Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. It is also the place with national brands like Scott's, Miracle-Gro, Ortho, and Roundup, and the local expertise you need to grow the lawn and garden you've always wanted. Stop by Ace today. Stock up on everything you need for the season. Only at Ace, the helpful place. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains what secularism does to a society.
The famous quote from the end of the 19th century is, when people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing, they believe in anything, because wisdom begins with fear of God. Sorry, secularists out there, you are guaranteed a dumb society when you've got rid of God and the Bible.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Stop by a Subway restaurant for the new Double Meat Signature Wraps for just $6.99 each. Prices may vary. Additional charge for extras plus applicable tax. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store. Featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
7:35 and a check of the morning commute in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Very latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the northbound Tri-State Tollway 294, it's heavy, 95th to 31st. From the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Eastbound Reagan Tollway has mild delays. Winfield Road to Naperville Road and 22nd to the Tri-State. Northbound Veterans Memorial heavy from the 463rd to the Reagan Tollway. Edens is 21 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Kennedy, 38 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 22 from Montrose, 18 in the Express, outbound 33 to the airport. Inbound Eisenhower, 48 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 33. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 44. And Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Traffic, service of Staples. Staples has a huge selection of ink and toner in stock and at great prices. Right now at Staples, buy 1 HP ink, get a second 30% off. You can stock up and save. Ends 4/14. Restrictions may apply. See store or staples.com for details. Staples, traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Cloudy and cooler. Maybe a thunderstorm around late morning, high 55. Rain in a thunderstorm overnight, low 38. Breezy, occasional rain and drizzle, and a blustery high of only 42 tomorrow. Currently 41 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So Jim Comey has some choice words for President Trump, including comparing him to a mob boss, but I understand Trump has some choice words back. Imagine that.
Oh, yes. He just tweeted, because we're always up to Jim, his tweets, because everyone was asking yesterday, what's his response? Well, this is it. James Comey is a proven leaker and liar. Virtually everyone in Washington thought he should be fired for the terrible job he did until he was, in fact, fired. He leaked classified information for which he should be prosecuted. He lied to Congress under oath. He is a weak and untruthful slimeball who was at time and has proven a terrible director of the FBI. His handling of the crooked Hillary Clinton case and the events surrounding it will go down as one of the worst botched jobs of history. It was my great honor to fire James Comey, !
All right. And by the way, that was an opinion of James Comey that many Democrats held not so long ago. The RNC has put together a nice compilation of some of those prominent Democrats talking about Jim Comey. You'll hear from a Chuck Schumer, a Pagliacci, a Nancy Pelosi, a No Justice, No Peace, Maxine Waters, a Comrade Bernie, all of the stars opining on Comey.
Democrats have been very critical of James Comey, and many of us did call for his resignation.
Well, I was appalled by what Director Comey did.
Comey acted in an outrageous way.
He made a mistake. Maybe he's not in the right job.
Howard Dean, former Democratic candidate for president, says, quote, he may have destroyed the credibility of the FBI forever.
This was a very serious error in judgment.
The president ought to fire Comey immediately, and he ought to initiate an investigation.
What he did was unprecedented and outrageous.
damage the institution of law enforcement in this country?
The lowest moment in the history of the FBI.
I found it hard to believe that Comey, who I thought had some degree of integrity, would do this.
All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility. That's it.
So is this a case where if everybody's upset with you, that means you're doing something right? Or is it a case where at one point in time or another, everybody has actually been right about Jim Comey? We put that question to Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, who's a retired intelligence operative, as well as a New York Times best-selling author and the vice president of the London Center for Policy Research. Colonel Shaffer, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be on with you.
So what about that, Comey? Has everybody been right at one point in time or another, or is he the last honest man that Diogenes was looking for?
Yeah, I think it's, if you really listen to everything that's being said, it's more like Al Capone finally getting caught and both sides figuring out he's being playing one side against the middle. No, he's not the honest man that people have been looking for. And the reason I know this is I have very close friends still at the FBI, and I've worked undercover with the FBI several times. So I like to believe my contacts are deep and abiding. And I've been told of horrific decisions made by Jim Comey relating to evidence, the evidence lab at Quantico, how he actually was part of the problem, setting up the FBI to fail. Also on counterterrorism issues. This is not something that's been revealed publicly yet. He allowed 71%, get this, 71% of the foreign counterintelligence budget to be diverted off of trying to chase foreign bad guys to focus only on Trump, Russia, and the Clinton issue. So the question then becomes, what are you not seeing relating to doing the hard work of protecting America, its citizens, and our technology? He completely abandoned the FBI's mission of foreign counterintelligence for these series of offshoots that we're now hearing about. So I don't consider the man competent whatsoever based on my own direct knowledge.
Well, can you elaborate on what evidence you said that was in Quantico?
Yeah, basically, he was making there's something called the Innocence Project, which goes about trying to clear people, and I get that, and I think a lot of people support that. But at one point in time, he was trying to basically allow for third parties to come in and judge the internal techniques of the FBI to the point of where they were going to allow, third-party oversight of the internal FBI mechanisms regarding evidence handling. And look, I'm all for the idea of having oversight. I'm not for a third party who's on the left coming in to essentially dictate to FBI evidence techs what they can and cannot do regarding new evidence. That's what was going on. He was essentially allowing political narratives to start affecting the internal mechanisms of the FBI. We've seen this both at the lab. We've seen this now at the macro level regarding the Clinton investigation.
And it seems to me that this is the real story about Jim Comey. He's a political animal and not a lot more. He's much like the members of Congress before which he testified. We see this over and over again. We see it in some of the book excerpts that have been released already. We see this with the statements he made to Congress versus statements he makes in on a variety television show or in public where he's not under oath. Very different. And I wonder, and by the way, it's been interesting to see some of the people who were initially defenders of Jim Comey within the agency didn't like how he was treated when he was terminated by Trump, now kind of turning on Comey because of the spectacle he's making of himself. And I wonder, through your experience and your friends, what they have to say about his integrity, because you have even Comey allies, Andy McCabe, at odds with Jim Comey in terms of whether or not he was authorized to leak information that he leaked or he wasn't. The two gentlemen testified to two very different things before Congress.
Right. Well, that's the point. I think Jim Comey will, Jim. There's like I think a dozen different Jim Comeys, and you can never tell which one's going to show up to an event. And with that said, he's like many really vicious politicians will say and do whatever he thinks will benefit his personal agenda at that moment. To your point regarding what he has said in different venues and different moments, I think this is a bellwether of his lack of integrity. And yeah, I was at an event recently. I had to do a talk regarding a local Congress member running for Congress, and one of the local FBI agents came up to me and talked to me quietly. And he said, look, Colonel, I got to tell you, I was very skeptical when the president fired Jim Comey. But, we the agents have looked at this from the inside now, and we're now recognizing that, hey, there was a real problem. And I think the majority of the folks within the FBI, based on my contact with these folks, have come to the same conclusion. Jim Comey was not a good guy, and he was doing things to damage the institution, as the Democrats said in their own words in the run-up, and you talked about all the bad things Jim Comey did. That is absolutely correct, and I find it appalling now that the very Democrats who rightfully criticized him are now trying to defend his actions, which to me is totally insane.
Well, they're just like him.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that the book is titled A Higher Loyalty. I mean, clearly he thinks so highly of himself. And one of the passages he talked about when he met President Trump, he compared his hand to his, and it wasn't as small as he thought. I mean, it's kind of like this romantic novel, because then he talks about President Obama, and he sat down with him after the Hillary announcement and wanted to know if it was okay, and he had tears in his eyes. I mean, it's a Harlequin romance.
It's lame, as
well.
Well,
I can't wait. I can't wait till we get to the scene of the book where he's having shower fantasies regarding Hillary. That'll be interesting.
Oh boy, it is Friday the 13th, but please, Colonel. Yeah. Byron York also at the Washington Examiner tweeted something too. I think this is a good point, and maybe somebody like Whoopi Goldberg that he deigns to allow to interview him will ask this question. R's and D's on Senate Judiciary Committee had lots of questions for James Comey after he was fired. He refused to talk. Now he spends 5 hours with ABC, answered every question, according to ABC. So if he talks to sell books, why not to Congress?
Yeah, well, I tweeted out, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm T-Spooky. I tweeted out, well, if Congress was willing to stuff $100 bills into his JCPenney suit for every answer, I'm sure he would have given the answer.
Let me ask you just another topic, because this is in the news today as well. The prospect of President Trump pardoning Scooter Libby. Now, of course, President Bush commuted his sentence. President Trump pardoning, apparently poised to pardon Libby. What do you think of the decision to pardon or not to pardon?
Well, I've been aware of this for a while, and I think it's one of those things that I think from all considerations, Scooter Libby really received a really raw deal. There was confirmation after the fact that Scooter was not the individual who leaked the Valerie Plame information. And look, I'm a member of the International Spy Museum here in Washington. Valerie Plame is part of the same museum, so this is something I've studied a little bit in detail. And Scooter Libby got convicted of a process crime of essentially saying something similar to what happened with Mike Flynn. It wasn't actually about the issue being investigated. It was about a fact or statement being made that did not fit with something relating to the FBI's factual understanding of the situation. So at this point in time, I think it's the right thing to do. I think Scooter Libby, I don't know the man. I do understand kind of the situation here. And all you're seeing right now, the Scooter Libby thing, the Mike Flynn thing, you're seeing the examples of the deep state of what they do to someone or on an issue that when they want to get someone. So this is something I think it's overdue, and I do support his being cleared.
And also examples of special prosecutors who go headhunting rather than pursuing justice, I think.
Precisely. Yeah, precisely.
He is Colonel Tony Shaffer, retired intelligence operative, New York Times bestselling author, and VP of the London Center for Policy Research. Colonel Shaffer, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be on.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, too tall for basketball, and it's Mike Scott's favorite night last night is the WNBA draft. I mean, it was so he loves the WNBA. Who did the Chicago Sky draft in the first and second round? Today, mostly cloudy, colder, thunderstorms around late morning, around a high of 55 degrees. Tonight, can't rule out rain and a thunderstorm, breezy, a low of 38. Saturday for those outdoor soccer games and baseball games. Occasional rain and drizzle. This sounds fantastic. A high of 42. And then on Sunday, the party continues with the same couple of showers, a high of 40. Monday, snow in the morning. That's fantastic. And on Tuesday, finally, breaks for some sunshine and a high of 51. Let's get into the alarm detection systems. Traffic Center, busy day, busy man. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Eastbound Jane Addams Tollway, I-90. We see delays from 59 to past Barrington Road. There's some tire debris after semi had a blowout there. The truck is on the side of the road. North on Tri-State, it's gummed up from 95th to 31st, from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower, and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. So on Reagan Tollway, Little Tight Farnsworth to Eola. Veterans Memorial from the Boughton Toll to the Reagan Tollway. 8 and 19 minutes, Lake Hook to the Junction. Outbound 23. Kennedy, 47 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. The Ike is an hour now, 390 to the Circle. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to the Drive. And the Ryan, 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Americans in every tax bracket got a tax cut thanks to the tax bill signed into law last year. The economy is growing, wages are rising, Americans are feeling better about the future, and you've got more money to spend on what's important to you and your priorities. It is your money, after all, but Democrats in Congress who voted against the tax cuts are promising to raise your taxes if they win in November. They want to take your money back to spend on their priorities. Only you can stop them. To find out how much more of your money you get to keep instead of sending it to Washington, D.C., go to taxcutswork.com now. There's an easy-to-use calculator, and it will tell you how much money the new tax cuts are saving you this year. Check your savings at taxcutswork.com, and then send a letter to Congress telling them to keep their hands off your tax cut savings. Go to taxcutswork.com because the money you're saving is yours. The website taxcutswork.com. Check your savings so that Congress know you want to keep your savings.
Are you thinking of getting engaged to that special person in your life? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I've got the perfect place for you. Engagements are all about trust, of course, and Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville has earned customers' trust for over 50 years. Roland's offers beautiful engagement rings, designers like Hearts on Fire, Simon G., A. Jaffe, and Gabriel. They're a direct diamond importer, which means wholesale prices on quality loose diamonds. And for a limited time, Roland's is thrilled to offer AM 560 listeners a free wedding band up to $500 when you purchase an engagement ring. Visit RolandsJewelers.com and see their amazing collection. Let Roland's Jewelers, downtown Libertyville, make your engagement experience truly memorable. I'm a customer. I proudly wear a watch that I bought from Roland's Jewelers. You can visit them online, RolandsJewelers.com, ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com. Visit Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I've been taking this probably about 2 years. I haven't had a cold or the flu since. I know it works. It does work. I'm one of those individuals. I own my own companies. I run like a nut. So I don't have the time to sit down and have the fruits and the vegetables and everything like that for dinners and all that stuff. So it's a tried and true product. I believe in it. I can safely say, have not had a cold, have not had a flu. I do believe in it. I do believe it works. I do, I know the vegetables and the fruits and all that stuff is the best for you, and this is a great way to get it, and it's natural and it works.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. When are you all going to start standing up for the majority? And here's who the majority is. I'm the majority. We're the first ones taxed and the last ones considered, and the first ones punished when something like this happens because our rights are the ones being taken away. That was part of a beautifully delivered commentary by law-abiding everyman Mark Robinson at a Greensboro, North Carolina City Council meeting. Robinson's I am Spartacus moment was in response to a debate over whether to cancel a local gun show in the wake of the Parkland school shooting. We demonize the police and we make the criminals into victims, and we're talking about restricting guns? Robinson continued. I want to live in Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. He laid out the bill of particulars for the people who play by the rules only to get fleeced by the political ruling class they finance and ridiculed in the process. Most importantly, Mark Robinson reminded us that this grand experiment in representative Republican government rises or falls based on the civic engagement of the Mark Robinsons in America. It's not enough to applaud Mark Robinson. We must emulate him. I am Mark Robinson.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Building owners and managers. Now is the perfect time of year for a service and maintenance agreement with Waukegan Roofing. Since 1914, Waukegan Roofing has been installing and maintaining roofs you can rely on for all of Chicagoland. Our experienced team of professional service technicians is the right solution for preserving the integrity of your new or existing roofing system for years to come. With your dedicated service technician and our multi-point inspection program, we cover all areas of your roof from early detection to preventative maintenance to repairs and everything in between. We're the licensed commercial roofing contractor you can rely on for all your roofing needs. Building owners and managers, now is the time to prepare your low-slope commercial roof for everything that Mother Nature throws at it this year. Call Waukegan Roofing today for your service and maintenance appointment at 877-ROOF-201. That's 877-ROOF-201. Or visit us online at waukeganroofing.com. Waukegan Roofing, installing roofs you can rely on since 1914.
Illinois licensee 104000761.
Someday, someone you love will ask for help. And although Lake County Right to Life is not a crisis center, it is an educational and political organization involved in educating the public about current life issues and legislations. They take an active part in both the educational and lobbying aspects of the Right to Life movement. They formed the Lake County PAC to actively work in helping elect local Lake County candidates who are pro-life, pro-family legislators. These people support life-affirming legislation. Please help the cause. A crisis program center saves lives one at a time. Legislation saves thousands of lives. Lake County Right to Life supports women, mothers and fathers, unborn babies, families, and the elderly. Good public policy is supposed to protect the most vulnerable and does not impose on a taxpayer to pay for the lesser good, namely abortion. That takes everybody working together. For donations or information, visit lcrtl.org. That's lcrtl.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
So there used to be a league, Amy, the WBL in America, 6'5" and under.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't take off.
I'm sure it didn't do well.
You know why? Because people.
Why didn't it take off?
Because people like to see tall, athletic guys doing windmill dunks and the like.
Exactly. But this story, it's a local story. Have you ever been told that you're too tall to play basketball? Well, that's what David.
Rom has.
Oh.
Not.
That's what David Simon, he is from Vernon Hills, and he's been playing overseas. He went to Indiana. I don't know if you remember him.
David Simon, yeah.
Yeah, David Simon. And 35 years old now. He's played overseas for a decade, mainly in the Korean Basketball League. And they are now implemented a rule where you can only be 200 centimeters in height
6'8".
to play. 6'8". Well, he's 6'8", and he's
200 centimeters. What are you, in metric now?
No, that's the rule.
Oh, well, okay, but let's translate it for America.
6'8",
here. Yeah,
and he's
200 centimeters.
He's 1 centimeter over that. He's 201 centimeters. So he was shocked when he had it wasn't a weigh-in, but it was a see how tall you are.
I've never been in a situation where I wasn't asked to come back just because I was too tall.
And what if he stripped like a centimeter of padding from his shoes?
He even cut his hair shorter, like anything.
Yeah, right.
To make it.
Make
and
height.
Said if he was walking down the street with one of his teammates, you would never know that he's 1 centimeter too tall.
I was so close to the limit. The guy that they bring in, I really don't see how, if we were walking down the street, I don't think you'd be able to tell who's taller or not.
No, I probably couldn't tell 2 6'8" guys who are a centimeter difference.
Well,
no, I could see the point.
So South Korean basketball officials said fans are the reason why they implemented this new rule, because they're leaving the games because they believe there's an over-reliance on tall players, making the game, they say, less interesting.
Well, the South Koreans are not exactly.
Well, so the league imposed this height restriction only to foreign players. Oh, so the fans that love him
So
are trying to get
those-
him back in because they said it's shameful that we're doing this.
So all those 7-foot South Koreans can still play. That's good to hear.
Big reason of why European teams and Asian teams bring in import players is to, strengthen their league and give their players a chance to play against guys who are better to make them better.
So now he's at his mom's house in Vernon Hills where he learned how to play basketball and trying to hopefully join a European team.
All right, well, he had a good run. Coming up at 8:08, a very special guest, Holocaust survivor, helping us remember what a lot of Americans don't know. That's at 8:08.
But now it is 8 o'clock and time for Fox News.
He's a proven leaker and liar. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Trump just called James Comey on Twitter. Comey had just written some not-so-kind things about the president. A book due out next week. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The president firing back at fired FBI Director James Comey on Twitter, writing he lied to Congress under oath. He is a weak and untruthful slimeball who was, as time has proven, a terrible director of the FBI. He continued, "It was my great honor to fire James Comey." Comey, in his new book out next week, describes President Trump as untethered to the truth and ego-driven. In excerpts of the book, Comey described the Trump presidency as a forest fire and wrote that his interactions with the administration recalled his earlier career as a prosecutor against the mob. Dave?
John, there's a hearing in court in New York next hour on the search warrant that led to the FBI raid targeting the president's lawyer. And President Trump is going after the post office, signing an executive order last night to create a task force to investigate.
President Trump says the Postal Service is on an unstable financial path, and the agency has to be restructured in order to prevent a taxpayer-funded bailout. This comes amid the president's war of words with e-commerce giant Amazon, which he says is using the Postal Service to prop up its business at the expense of the American taxpayer.
Fox's Mike Cantor. International chemical weapons inspectors will start investigating the reported poison gas attack tomorrow. Still no U.S. airstrikes. President Trump has said they're coming.
Syrian ally Russia has warned the United States that any military action in Syria could have serious consequences. Russia's UN ambassador said he, quote, cannot exclude a U.S.-Russian war.
That's Fox's David Lee Miller in our Middle East Bureau. Bill Cosby's retrial is about to resume in Pennsylvania with Andrea Constand testifying. Her claims of being drugged and sexually assaulted in 2004 led to this lone criminal case from Cosby's sex scandal. 5 other past accusers also testified this week. Fox News, fair and balanced.
41 in clouds on WIND Chicago. Here are the stories we're following this morning. One man is dead, another person is hurt following a crash on Chicago's northwest side. Police say a vehicle ran a red light and collided with a second vehicle early this morning near Kedzie and Devon. An investigation continues after a human leg was pulled from the Des Plaines River near Lockport. Authorities say dock workers at the Lockport Lock and Dam discovered that leg Wednesday night. DNA samples collected for testing in order to determine the person's identity. It will be up to a randomly chosen member of the Chicago Police Board to decide if an officer involved in a controversial, fatal shooting 3 years ago should be fired. That's the process because of a disagreement between the Chicago Police Superintendent, Eddie Johnson, and the Civilian Office of Police Accountability over the fate of Officer Robert Rialmo. Rialmo shot and killed 19-year-old Quintonio LeGrier and 55-year-old Betty Jones during a domestic disturbance. Johnson says the shooting was justified since LeGrier carried a bat. Illinois' synthetic marijuana problem is not a statewide issue. Just 11 of the state's 102 counties report any of the cases of severe bleeding. However, the Department of Public Health yesterday updated numbers. It's now 122 that have been treated for bleeding from the eye, nose, or lungs from the synthetic pot that was tainted with rat poison. Chicago sports. Pirates cruise past the Cubs 6-1. Was Jose Barrios striking out 11 in a Twins shutout of the White Sox 4-0. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, major banks are reporting earnings today. JP Morgan's quarter was stronger than expected. Its earnings rose 35%. The bank was helped by the new tax law. A toy company owner might be bidding for Toys R Us. The New York Post says Isaac Larian, whose MGA Entertainment makes Bratz dolls and Little Tykes, is offering to pay nearly $900 million for its operations in the U.S. and Canada. He wants the company to respond in 6 days. Larian says he's contributing a substantial amount of his own money for the deal. His company is not participating in the bidding. Volkswagen's new chief executive, Herbert Diess, says he's open to alliances in areas like autonomous driving. Diess was named to the position yesterday. The Dow was up 293 yesterday. NASDAQ added 71. S&P gained 21. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder explains why we see so many fatherless children.
The primary reason that we're having the proliferation of kids raised without fathers is because of the ease with which a woman can marry the government and the ease with which this enables the man to abandon his financial and moral responsibility. Overwhelmingly, the reason for the rise in out-of-wedlock birth rate, in my opinion, is that we are subsidizing slovenly behavior.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
It is 8:06. Let's get an update this morning on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. From Gurnee to Park City, traffic is jammed on southbound 41 from Delaney Road to Washington due to a crash on southbound 41. Edens is fine inbound at 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 23. Kennedy inbound delays start at Foster. 47 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 34 from Montrose, 30 in the Express. Outbound 14 minutes to Montrose, 36 to O'Hare. On Eisenhower, an hour from 390 to downtown, 38 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 37 to 390. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 44 minutes. Line is 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 to Bishop 4 to 5. Northbound Tri-State delays 95th to 31st. From the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower, and from the O'Hare Oasis to Balmoral. Eastbound Adams Tollway jammed. Beverly to past Barrington Road. There's some tire debris after a semi and a blowout. Eastbound Reagan Tollway, slow Winfield to Yackley. Northbound Veterans Memorial, 75th to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, breezy, and cool with a shower or thunderstorm around from late morning on, high 55. Cloudy and breezy tonight with occasional rain and a thunderstorm with a low tonight of 40. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
41 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Yesterday was Holocaust Remembrance Day, and on the occasion, there was a survey released that had some disturbing results.
Oh,
41% of Americans do not know what Auschwitz was. That rises to 2/3 among millennials. A significant percentage, 11% of Americans, nearly 20% of millennials, don't know or not sure they've ever heard of the Holocaust. So
that makes me sick.
It becomes even more important because, of course, with respect to Holocaust survivors, we basically have, like World War II veterans, you basically have the last generation of people who survived that atrocity who can tell their stories and educate the uninformed. And we're fortunate to have one such person on our show this morning. He's a Holocaust survivor. He lives in Chicagoland. His name is Steen Metz. Steen, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
And so just to get your reaction to those survey results that were reported yesterday.
I'm aware of the results. I saw them myself, and I'm very, very disappointed. And that's why education is so important. And that's why I'm pleased to have an opportunity to talk to a number of schools about my experiences as a Holocaust survivor. I do think the number would have been higher in the state of Illinois. In Illinois, we have mandated Holocaust education, but they're still much too low. And I cannot imagine what the numbers would be like 10 or 20 years from now, because none of the Holocaust survivors would be around at that time to talk about the Holocaust.
Well, Mr. Metz, tell us, you do go to a number of schools, and tell us your story.
Well, my story goes back to 1940. That was the day that Hitler invaded Denmark. Conditions were what I refer to as relatively normal the first 3.5 years. But then things changed dramatically, and the Danish underground movement made life very difficult for the Germans, and that was the purpose. And consequently, that was the time that the Nazis started what we call the final solution, the roundup of the Jewish people. I was among the 5% of the Danish Jewish population that did not escape to Sweden. We lived in the middle of the country and had not been warned about it. It was very fortunate. 95% of the Danish Jews, and that was a very, very unique situation, managed to escape to Sweden, but we did not. And we were arrested October 2nd, 1943. I was 8 years old, and I still remember it very clearly when the 2 Gestapo officers pounded on our door and woke us up very early morning. It was Rosh Hashanah, and they expected that all the Jewish people would be home celebrating the holidays. Fortunately, 95% were on their way to Sweden. Unfortunately, we were among the 5%.
And you were arrested, and then what happened?
I'm sorry?
You were arrested, your family was arrested, and then what happened?
Yes, we were arrested. My father, my mother, and myself, we were arrested. And then later on, we assembled in a schoolyard in my hometown, Odense, or you may call it Odense. And then later on, we were transferred into what I call a cattle car, and we were deported to Theresienstadt. That is the German version of the camp I was in.
And how long were you and your family imprisoned in that camp?
We spent 18 months in camp, and it seemed to be a very, very long time. I was 8 years old when we were arrested.
Yeah, and so what would they make you do? What was a typical day like when you were in the concentration camp?
A typical day would be like in the morning we would line up for what they called breakfast, which was basically substitute coffee and some brown and black bread with margarine. And then later on, I would be playing with some other children. And then I would volunteer. I didn't have to work. If you were 15 years and younger, you're considered a child and didn't have to work. But I did some voluntary work, and I would go. I was a messenger. There's not much you can do when you're 8 years old. And at that time, communication channels were so different. And I would take German documents from one office to the other. And I still remember how I couldn't get out of the office fast enough because those Nazi soldiers, they looked very, very intimidating. And then we would line up for lunch, and at least they called it lunch. It turned out to be potato soup most days, and it was really boiled water with potato peel, again with some bread, and then another different kind of soup at dinner time. about once a week, I think we got a pasta dish called dumplings. Then it's also amazing, especially when I look back, that I was able to play soccer. And when I think about it, it's amazing. We didn't have a real soccer field. We played on a gravel field, and then we didn't have a real soccer ball. The mothers took some old rags, tied them together, and we kicked that around. And that was probably the only time I really felt like a 9-year-old boy.
What was the ultimate resolution for you and your family?
Unfortunately, my father was exposed to some very hard road work, and he couldn't handle it. He was an attorney. He was used to office work, litigating in a courthouse. And he passed away after less than 6 months from starvation. Fortunately, my mother and I survived, and we were very, very fortunate. And my mother was a very, very strong person, very, very tenacious.
And then how were you able to escape? How were you able to get out of that concentration camp?
We were very fortunate. It was almost a miracle. We were liberated by the Swedish Red Cross buses on April the 15th. And we had heard about the buses coming, but after being in prison in a camp for 18 months, we didn't believe it until we saw the buses. And they saved a total of 15,000 inmates. And we were still in danger because the war was still going on. And it was lucky that they were able to get through Germany and into Czechoslovakia, where the concentration camp was. And then later on, we went up through Germany, and I still remember we had to stop a number of times because of a heavy bombardment.
What is... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Then we crossed the border into Denmark, and since the war was still going on, we couldn't stay there, so we went over to Sweden. Again, Sweden being a neutral country. And over there, we were in quarantine for about a week. They wanted to make sure that we didn't bring any diseases into the country.
When you share your story with schools where you speak, I assume you tell them some of the details of what you and your family experienced, what the Jewish population experienced. And then what is it you want to impart upon them in terms of thinking about that ignominious period in world history and thinking about the future?
Well, to me, and I think any survivor, it's very, very important that we never forget that the Holocaust took place. Unfortunately, anti-Semitism is on the rise, vandalism of temples and Jewish property is on the increase. So I always urge them, I ask each person I talk to relate the message to at least 4 other people that they know that the Holocaust took place because they had an opportunity to listen to a witness. And it's very, very important for me. And I get thousands of letters from students, and many times they say, oh, we have talked to more than 4 people. So never forget, that would be the key thing. You know, I'm very fortunate I belong to what we call the Speakers Bureau at the Holocaust Museum in Skokie, and we have an opportunity to talk to a lot of students, especially March, April, and May. They're the very busy months for talking to students.
So back to your story. So you ended up in Sweden. Then how did you ever go back to Denmark, and how did you end up in the United States?
We went back to Denmark 2 or 3 weeks after the Germans surrendered in Denmark. They surrendered on May the 5th, 1945. 2 or 3 weeks later, we returned to Denmark. We returned to my hometown. And then I went back to school. Some years later, I graduated from high school, and then I graduated from business college. And then I wanted to see the world, so I joined a Danish food company, and they did most of their business abroad. And I started in England, then I went to Canada, and then eventually to the United States. Later on, I joined some American companies. And I've been in the United States since 1962, and I retired in 1999. And it's hard to imagine, it's almost 19 years ago. And I started talking to schools in the fall of in October of 2011. And it's very interesting, the evolution after the war, after we were liberated. Like most survivors, we didn't really want to talk about it. and now I cannot talk enough about it. And I think that's very healthy. I think it helps bring closure.
I wonder if one of the interviews that I was most fortunate to have in my career in radio, such as it is, was Elie Wiesel, of course, the Nobel Prize winner who wrote the book Night. And Night I read in high school, and that's what really brought the Holocaust home to me and made me more interested in investigating the history of it. And so I wonder if you have recommendations for young people or people of any age
or adults
in terms of a book. I mean, there's so many documentaries, Silent Witness about Auschwitz, so many good documentaries, good books, good movies even, that perhaps maybe bring what happened home in a poignant and an emotional way that really sticks with you, the way that Night stuck with me. And I wonder if you have any recommendations.
I'm very, very familiar with Elie Wiesel, and unfortunately he passed away about a year and a half ago.
Right.
And his book, Night, is really the gold standard, as far as I'm concerned, of Holocaust education. There's another book called The Boy in Striped Pajamas that's also made into a movie.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of information on the internet. I've also written a book myself, A Danish Boy in Theresienstadt. But it's interesting. Most survivors don't write their books until later in life. I think we find if we don't do it now, we'll never get a chance to do it. But there's a lot of information available. And number one would always be to have a survivor talk to schools. I don't want to put ourselves on the pedestal, but we always told that was a highlight of their Holocaust education.
He is Steen Metz. He's a Holocaust survivor. He's also a member of the Speakers Bureau. You heard him say the Holocaust Museum in Skokie. Speaks to a lot of classes. Maybe request Steen come to speak to a class where your kids go to school. He is also a Chicagoland resident, so we're pleased to have him in the area as well. Steen, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your story. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to spread the word.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you so much again. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer. What is coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer? I'm still get so emotional hearing his story. It's just amazing. And there's not a lot of Holocaust survivors left. So.
No, he mentioned you're a generation away from those people not being able to tell their story first person. His book, A Danish Boy in Theresienstadt.
A Danish Boy in Theresienstadt?
Yeah, that's the name of his book if you want to pick that up. Coming up, $10 billion worth of Illinois state employees at 8:26.
And a teacher starts a fight club in school. The key to Fight Club is don't tell anybody about Fight Club. Today, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies. Can't rule out a thunderstorm, a high of 55 degrees. Tonight, rain and a thunderstorm, a low of 38. And your weekend looks pretty miserable, especially for those outdoor soccer games and baseball games. Saturday, occasional rain and drizzle, a high of 42. And then on Sunday, we're going to have a couple of showers, a high of just 40. Rain on Monday morning. And then on Tuesday, we'll see the sun. It'll get a little warmer around here, a high of 51. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Dan. In Gurnee and Park City, we have heavy delays on southbound 41, Delaney to Washington due to a crash, and in Elmhurst, southbound 83. Stop and go from the Eisenhower to North Avenue after a collision. The Aidens is 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. Kennedy, 47 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 36. Eisenhower, an hour and 4 minutes, 390 to downtown. It's 37 minutes from Manheim, outbound 35 to 390. Stevenson, an hour, 355 to the drive. Orion, 31 minutes, 95th to the loop. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go Archer to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Ike. The other tollways, northbound Veterans Memorial, it's still slow, 63rd to the Reagan Tollway, and southbound approaching St. Charles. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
The following is a paid political announcement.
It's still hard to tell the difference between Congressman Todd Rokita and Congressman Luke Messer. Rokita and Messer are two career politicians, and for nearly 30 years, they've lived on the taxpayer dole. 30 years. They're both lawyers who never practiced, and their records in Congress are the same too. In Washington, Todd Rokita and Luke Messer voted to fast-track Obama's bad trade deals, to add $500 billion to our debt, and even to fund liberal priorities like Obama's executive amnesty, not to mention funding for abortion provider Planned Parenthood. In fact, Todd Rokita and Luke Messer have voted the exact same way in Congress 95% of the time. It's true. This election, remember, Todd Rokita and Luke Messer are the same. They're two career politicians, and they're wrong for Indiana.
I'm Mike Braun, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because of my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Abilify, Wellbutrin, Seroquel, Rexulti. These drugs are commonly prescribed for depression treatment. 2018 can be the year you win the war on depression.
New year, new you.
Drugs for depression can be dangerous, have side effects, and really just mask the problem. TMS therapy treats the source of your depression. Cure or remission is here. HBR centers are proud to bring TMS therapy to Chicagoland and Milwaukee. Millions have been treated, and the results are outstanding.
TMS therapy is drug-free and non-invasive.
How does it work? TMS therapy uses safe, small magnetic fields, similar to those used in an MRI. They stimulate and activate mood centers, causing long-term medication-free relief. It's FDA cleared and covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medicare. Make the call. Ask questions. Bring an end to your depression. HPR centers in Chicagoland and Milwaukee.
800-604-0208. 800-604-0208.
HPR centers. Go to endmydepression.com.
Looking to refinance your existing mortgage and want the lowest rates and lowest closing costs? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Other lenders boast about having low closing costs, which is like me saying I look good in a pair of 32-inch pants. Truth is, other lenders' closing costs are substantially higher than Team Hochberg's closing costs, and I haven't fit into a pair of 32-inch pants in over 40 years. Compare Team Hochberg's closing costs against any other lenders, and if our closing costs aren't lower, I'll donate to Veterans Roasters, an organization who hires homeless veterans to roast coffee, and an organization Team Hochberg already financially supports. When securing a mortgage, you can either work with a lender whose definition of low closing costs are over $1,000 higher than ours, or you can call Team Hochberg now at 312-751-1333. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store. Featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
AM 560, The Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy. We, me in particular, often criticize the the Chicago Press Corps for being ignorant and beholden handmaidens to big government, and they normally are. But there are exceptions, and I want to recognize one. Dennis Welsh, who's the GM at Fox Chicago, did a commentary for their newscast yesterday. How do you get to be the state with the highest combined state and local taxes in the country? Easy. You start by paying 63,000 government employees more than $100,000 a year. $10 billion in six-figure salaries in Illinois. It's not just state government, it's government generally, of course. 63, most units of government in the country, even though we're the sixth most populous state. Highest combined state and local taxes, as he mentioned. 63,000 employees making $100,000 or more. There's $6.3 billion right there. Then you add in their benefits, healthcare and pension benefits, gold-plated. And you
now
get
you
to
know why we're broke.
And you get to $10 billion real quick. So good for Fox Chicago for raising that issue for discussion, and Dennis Welsh for doing so. By the way, a related story, the rumors are out yesterday that Sam McCann, who's a state senator from downstate Macoupin County.
Macoupin County?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
He is down St. Louis way. It goes all the way from Macoupin to Springfield. He is going to announce as soon as Monday an independent campaign for governor. He's a Republican senator who's unfortunately too tight with the public sector unions. But you got a Republican state senator who's a social conservative potentially launching a third-party independent campaign against the two multi-cajillionaires, combining social conservatism and public sector union support. Going to be very interesting. He may push Runner down into single digits before it's all said and done.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Mike Pompeo gets grilled by Dem senators in his Secretary of State confirmation hearing about not geopolitical matters, but gay sex, of course. That's at 8:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
41 degrees, winds northeast at 9 and a bit chilly this morning. Russia's foreign ministry says reported chemical attacks in Syria last weekend were staged by what he called foreign agents. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov telling reporters today he has irrefutable evidence the attack was staged by one country which he did not name. Former FBI Director James Comey's new book does not mince words when it comes to the president. Higher Loyalty doesn't come out until next week, but several media outlets already have advanced copies, and in it Comey describes Trump as a forest fire and compares the president to a mob boss. President Trump reportedly going to pardon Scooter Libby, one-time chief of staff for then Vice President Dick Cheney. Former CIA officer Valerie Plame says the president has clear intentions.
And what he's putting out there is the idea that you can pardon people for serious crimes against national security.
ABC News reporting the president has already signed off on the pardon. Libby's 30-month sentence has already been commuted by then-President George W. Bush. Oklahoma teachers are going back to class after a 9-day walkout. The president of the Oklahoma Education Association says teachers secure nearly $480 million in funding for the next school year. A decision today could help former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich get out of prison. Supreme Court is meeting today to decide if it's going to take up the case of the former Illinois Governor Blagojevich. He's currently serving a 14-year sentence, convicted of corruption in 2011. By the way, the Supreme Court has previously refused to hear any Blagojevich appeals. And a suburb just south of the city of Chicago is mocking the city just a little bit using comic strips as part of a $20,000 marketing campaign to try and attract city dwellers and millennials southward. Homewood's Think Homewood comic strips begin this month. They'll run through May. The comics poke fun at city life while highlighting Homewood's diversity and quality of life. The ads will appear on CTA trains, billboards, and posters at CTA stations. Pirates cruise past the Cubs 6-1. Twins shut out the White Sox 4-0. The news service of Staples. Staples has a huge selection of ink and toner in stock and at great prices. Right now at Staples, buy one HP ink and get a second 30% off. So you can stock up and save. Ends 4/14, restrictions apply. C-store or Staples.com for details. Staples. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees a president annoyed with the Russia investigation.
The president is clearly frustrated. The president is clearly disappointed. The president is clearly antsy to get this thing over with. If you've got proof of some kind of collusion, establish it already. Do it. All this other stuff is a distraction.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
Dan Proft here, and you're invited to join me at the Judson University World Leaders Forum on April 19th. This year, the forum features former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich and former Governor of Vermont Howard Dean. The topic of this year's forum, a bipartisan conversation about leadership in divided times. The World Leaders Forum features two events, a community event held at Judson University in Elgin at 2 p.m. on April 19th, to hear from both Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean before a Q&A session. Then at 5 p.m. that evening, the World Leaders Forum continues at the Hilton Chicago Hotel at a signature VIP reception featuring a photo opportunity with both Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean. A portion of the ticket is tax deductible, with proceeds funding the Judson Leadership Scholarships, innovative entrepreneurial activities, and sustaining the World Leaders Forum. I'm excited to be moderating this year's event, so join me at the Judson University World Leaders Forum with Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean. Get your tickets today at judsonu.edu/WLF. That's judsonu.edu/WLF.
It is 8:35. Let's get an update on your ride to work this morning. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Traffic is jammed on I-80 eastbound Shepley to before Humboldt. That is due to a crash. The Edens is light, 19 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. Kennedy. Inbound delays start at Irving Park, 48 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 38 from Montrose, 36 from the Express. Outbound 27 to the airport. From Eisenhower, 55 minutes, 390 to the Burn Circle. It's 35 from Manheim. Outbound 33 minutes to 390. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 35. Ryan is 34 minutes, 95 to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, heavy Irving Park to North Avenue. Northbound from the Stevenson to Balboa and Bryn Mawr to Hollywood. On Tri-State slow from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, Ogden to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. The other tollways have cleared up. Northwest Indiana, clear sailing. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Cloudy, cooler. Maybe a thunderstorm late this morning, and a thunderstorm possibility continues into the overnight hours. A high of 55 this afternoon, a low of 38 overnight. Currently 41. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, all right, we should have done this before. I don't know what we were thinking.
What?
Alternative book titles for Jim Comey's book, A Higher Loyalty.
Oh. And well, what happened is already
That's taken. Yeah. Len emailed in. He's got a good one.
What?
A Higher Royalty.
Oh.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Take your suggestions for alternative book title for Jim Comey, or even a Trump nickname for Jim Comey other than Slimeball. That's not that creative. I want something alliterative or insightful.
President Trump called him a slime ball.
Yeah, I know, but that's not good enough.
That's not good enough?
We can improve upon that.
That's his new name, because you know how Trump is with those nicknames via Twitter, like Crooked Hillary and what did he call Tiny Marco Rubio? What was Marco Rubio's? I can't remember. Tiny Hands?
Lion Ted. Little Marco.
And Slimeball Comey.
Yeah, but come on. We can do better than that. That's weak. And we should play this one more time just in advance of Comey's big sit-down with Clinton Foundation donor Zero that'll be broadcast on Sunday night.
And then Monday he's going on with Stephen Colbert, and then he's going to be with the ladies from The View.
So since we've got a week long of his softball interviews on variety shows, you're not going to get any hard questions. You won't have any institutional memory of previous positions on Jim Comey, particularly from the Democrats who are now celebrating him. So just a reminder of what Democrats said about him in the not-so-distant past. Schumer, Comrade Bernie, No Justice, No Peace Maxine, Howard Dean, all of them.
Democrats have been very critical of James Comey, and many of us did call for his resignation.
Well, I was appalled by what Director Comey did.
Comey acted in an outrageous way.
He made a mistake. Maybe he's not in the right job.
Howard Dean, former Democratic candidate for president, says, quote, he may have destroyed the credibility of the FBI forever.
This was a very serious error in judgment.
The president ought to fire Comey immediately, and he ought to initiate an investigation.
What he did was unprecedented and outrageous, damaged the institution of law enforcement in this country.
The lowest moment in the history of the FBI.
I found it hard to believe that Comey, who I thought had some degree of integrity, would do this.
All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility. That's it.
And we do have some on Facebook from Steve Rauter. He's got a number of hashtags he'd like to get started trending. Crap Weasel Comey. That's better than slime ball.
Yeah.
That's a good example of improving. Orange jumpsuit men's tall. 7 feet of leakage. Arrest Comey today. Raid Comey's attorney's office. Well, that's just, things he'd like to see happen. But 7 feet of leakage, orange jumpsuit men's tall. Crap Weasel Comey.
312-642
here.
Yeah, 312-642-5600 is our turnkey parental line. Comey, they're releasing some excerpts of the interview between Comey and George Stephanopoulos. And George Stephanopoulos, second question right out of the box. What about this P tape where allegedly Russian hookers are engaged in sex acts, Trump's watching, and then they urinate on each other? So Stephanopoulos asked him, is that true? Do you believe Trump's denial? Because Trump even said, I would never go along with something. He's a germaphobe. Are you kidding me? So he said, I honestly never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I don't know whether the current president of the United States was with prostitutes peeing on each other in Moscow in 2013. It's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a smear campaign.
Well,
That's all. I mean, he's mad. He's a disgruntled employee who's now fighting back because he got fired, and he didn't think he should be fired.
Mike Pompeo is not a disgruntled employee. He's the CIA director, and he's a nominee for Secretary of State, of course, to replace Rexon. He was before the Senate. The Senate for his confirmation hearing yesterday, and of course, with all that's going on in the world, there's a lot of questions asked. Explore his understanding of the geopolitical dynamics and the national security interests that we do or don't have in Syria. Should we?
What about the upcoming meeting allegedly between President Trump and Kim Jong-un?
That's
or what
another
about
one. What about the Iran nuclear deal?
The pending Syrian airstrikes.
All of that. Those are worthwhile topics to explore, legitimate questions to ask of a Secretary of State nominee. So Cory Booker got right to it by focusing on gay sex.
I do want to give you a chance to speak about your comments on gay and lesbians. You said in a speech that mourning an America that endorses perversion and calls it an alternative lifestyle, those are your words. Is being gay a perversion?
Senator, when I was a politician, I had a very clear view on whether it was appropriate for two same-sex persons to marry. I stand by that.
So you do not believe it's appropriate for two gay people to marry?
Senator, I continue to hold that view. It's the same view.
And so people in the State Department, I met some in Africa that are married under your leadership. You do not believe that that should be allowed?
Senator, I believe it's the case. We have married gay couples at the CIA. You should know. I treated them with the exact same set of rights.
Do you believe that gay sex is a perversion? Yes or no?
Senator, if I can, if you
yes or no,
give me a
sir.
moment, if
Do you
just
believe
give me
that
a
gay
moment.
sex is a perversion? Because it's what you said here.
Senator,
in one of your
fill in the
speeches.
blanks,
Yes or no?
Corey.
Do you believe gay sex is a perversion?
Senator, I'm going to give you the same answer I just gave you previously. My respect for every individual, regardless of their sexual orientation, is the same.
Well, then Cory Booker said that I'm not interested in seeing you.
This relationship is over before it began.
Yeah, Cory Booker doing his best effort to bigot bait Pompeo. And I mean, this really was the focus of Democrats' questioning of Pompeo, was all bigot baiting related questions, because that's all the Democrat Party is in the 21st century. Bigot baiting, solidarity and marginality. You can't stress it enough. You can't explain it to your circle of influence enough. That's the value prop of the Democrat Party.
But as Secretary of State, the State Department, they are. What's their main mission? To protect U.S. citizens who are in foreign lands, right?
To protect the national security interests of America.
Yeah. And would Cory Booker think that if you're gay, he's not going to protect you?
Cory Booker's not thinking at all. He's playing bigot baiting politics. That's all the left has, is identity politics. That's all they have. That's all they are. And that's all this country will be if you cede the country to them. Alternative Comey book title still coming in. Holly from Hudson. I'm with her, or am I?
Well, the RNC has their own spoof. They released a booklet, James Comey, A Higher Calling. Or really, is it just about me, myself, and I? It's just me, myself, and I.
It's just me, myself, and I. That'll be some, I don't know if De La Soul will approve that, but that'll be some good playing music when he goes on to these variety shows.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Steve in Hinsdale.
Yeah, I have a lot of extra time on my hands. This was a good item this morning, but how about Tall Boy Goes Low?
Tall Boy Goes Low. All right.
Well, another passage.
I don't think that's Pulitzer quality, but okay. Thanks for the call, Steve.
Another passage in the book is when he describes meeting President Trump for the first time. And when he approached him, he looked at his hand to see if it was or was not small. I mean, that's the kind of stuff.
No, that's
in this
Trump.
book.
No.
No.
I mean, meeting Obama.
No.
He talked about Trump's hand size. The Obama meeting was about how Obama came to him in late November.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, and said, I still love you.
And he had tears in his eyes.
E.L. I think this book was ghostwritten by E.L. James, but I'm not sure. Zach in Downers Grove.
Yeah, the book title is She Did It, But We Won't, by James Not At This Time Comey.
Not at this time. Thanks for the call.
No, the quote is, as he extended his hand, I made a mental note to check its size. It was smaller than mine, but did not seem unusually so.
That's about Trump.
Yeah, when Comey met Trump.
Right, you said Obama.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yes, that's what I was
It's a blonde moment. It happens a lot.
And he also criticized, so the hand was small, but not unusually small, and the ties were too long, but not unusually too long or something.
And then, in the silent circle of assent, the boss is in complete control. The loyalty oath, the us versus them worldview, the line about all things large and small, in service to some, code of loyalty that put the organization above morality and above the truth. He talked about his blue eyes a lot, too. His face appeared slightly orange with bright white half moons under his eyes, where I assumed he placed small tanning goggles. Bright blonde hair, which upon close inspection looked to be all his. I mean, come on. I stared at the soft white pouches under his expressionless blue eyes. I remember thinking that in that moment that the president doesn't understand the FBI's role in American life.
Oh, where's the Obama one? The Obama one is the one.
That's the one where
they get all hot and heavy and start groping each other. Tom in Deer Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I worked both sides of the 2016 election, but you'll have to read Stormy on Donald's erection.
Oh, that's more of a limerick. But okay, all right. Thanks for the call.
It's rather long.
And so, yeah, well, that could be a limerick that prefaces the first chapter. I like that. Thanks for the call, Tom.
I found the Obama excerpt.
Yeah.
Comey writes that Obama sat alone with him in the Oval Office in late November and told him, I picked you to be FBI director because of your integrity.
This is a terrible read.
I want you to know that
romance?
nothing has happened in the last year to change my view.
Where's Amy Jacobson, the seductress?
Boy, were those words I needed to hear. I'm just trying to do the right thing. I know Obama said.
Yeah.
I know. Come here, you little vixen. Pull it in. God, you're dreamy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yummy.
You know how I like it with tears. And then gentle in the end.
Well, because
I know, said Obama. I know, petting him gently on the head.
Wait, this is exclusive. This is what he said.
And you're going to get it good and hard. That's how he likes it. Yeah.
He likes it good and hard.
You're going to get it good and hard. Get over here, Comey. Steve on I-355.
I can't quit you.
How about the rise and fall of Humpty Dumpty?
All right, thanks for the call, Steve. The rise and fall. Martin in Northwest Indiana.
The nickname for Comey, Captain Renault Comey from Casablanca.
Of course, Captain Renault. The gambling in the casino. Thanks, Martin. Brent in Peoria.
Hey guys, I was listening to you, play that audio about Pompeo getting questioned by Mr. Booker. I think trying to become a president someday. But he could have easily answered that guy by saying, you know what, I do believe in individuals having dignity and respect, unlike how they treat homosexuals in Iran, which I think is a bigger issue that we should be talking about right now. Don't you think?
Throw them off buildings.
Thanks for the call, Brent. Sean in Elmwood Park.
Hi, Sean.
First of all, that was not sexy at all. That was like a verbal articulation of Jan Schakowsky in lingerie. Don't ever do that again.
Well, that's Amy. I thought I was very sultry.
That was terrible, terrible. Now, as far as the book,
yes,
I tell you what. Tell me about The Rabbits, George, by the FBI's Lenny Small. I like it because it tells you whatever this guy's touched as you look into his past is a disaster. Only in government could a failure achieve this kind of credibility. What has Comey ever done? And as you asked him yesterday, he points to his crackdown of the mob. When? When did he crack down on the mob? It's all a lie. Everything he ever touched is a failure. Just like, Amy, you were asking, what does this guy do in the Interior Department or the other department? What they all do, they sit on their duff and they wait for pensions. They function at nothing. All of it. It's all TSA without the Gaddafi uniforms. They're all morons.
All right, thanks for the call, Sean. And I got to say, I'm more than a little impressed that Sean actually made a John Steinbeck reference before his customary screed.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Save more with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Hey, Todd, Liberty Mutual just saved me $782.
Liberty did what?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Maybe I should switch to Liberty Mutual.
Visit us online to... Hey, stop echoing.
Sorry.
Visit us online to get a quote, and you could save $782. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Based on a recent countrywide new customer survey, coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, Equal Housing Insurer.
Ever hire a plumber at an odd time for an emergency? The hourly rate could send you into cardiac arrest. It'd be nice to have someone on call 24/7 for those once every few year emergencies, but probably not necessary. Now your business is IT? That's a completely different story. The potential for problems if your IT system isn't properly maintained could be more than those once every few year plumbing backups. For peace of mind, turn to Turnkey IT. Their monthly support contracts will keep your business's computer systems online and running well. No more waiting for an hourly IT tech to get back to you and charging you an enormous after-hours rate. The certified pros at Turnkey will keep your business's computer system online with unlimited on-site and remote support. And for a limited time, you can save up to $500 a month on a support contract, plus unlimited cloud backup at no cost. Get the secure feeling your business backbone is supported by Turnkey IT.
Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey.pro.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I can't thank you enough for this product. Because I get up in the morning, I take 6 capsules of the fruit, and I get this wonderful wellness feeling and alertness. And you got to understand, I'm 90 years old.
It's really helped me and my husband and my son a lot, with our immune systems. We haven't been sick. We've been avoiding, all of that. So I'm really happy with that.
This is a wonderful product. I mean, I just feel so different.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
If you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, your dental health. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You hear a lot of people screaming at you about dental implants. Get it done in a day, or we can treat everybody, or hundreds of thousands of implants. Look, successful implants don't come from an implant factory. What you don't hear talked about is skill, treatment, and installation. These are what make for successful lifelong implants. And that's why you need to see Dr. Norouzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Norouzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants. You need the experience, skill, and honesty that 24 years of dental implants brings.
This is Dr. Norouzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics, 630-232-7400, 630-232-7400, or just remember, implantsforme.com, implantsforme.com.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Songs have been written about it, wars have been fought over it, and just holding it in the palm of your hands is magnificent. Silver and gold have been bartered, bought, and sold for centuries, and now is the time for you to invest in one of the most recognized financial assets and ensure your portfolio is guarded against inflation and a declining dollar. For such an exclusive opportunity and investment, put your trust in Kedzie Coins. Kedzie Coins is an accredited precious metals dealer member with family roots in the heart of Chicago, and as members of the Professional Numismatics Guild, they are committed to the strictest standards of excellence and ethics. With one of the largest selections of gold and silver bullion minted in the U.S., Kedzie Coins is your destination to buy American. Visit one of their 3 locations, Kedzie Coins and Jewelry on 59th and Kedzie in Chicago, What a Gem Jewelry and Coins in Berwyn, or the flagship store, Broadway Jewelry and Rare Coins in Bradley, just north of Kankakee. For questions or to set up an appointment, call 773-436-0777.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Aument, a founding partner of the law firm of Dassman and Aument and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Daspin and Aument needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
More titles, alternate titles for Comey's book coming in. You Had Me at Benghazi. Text from 815, Straddling Hillary.
Okay, gross.
Well, that's consistent with some of the E.L. James portions she ghost wrote.
Somebody texted me and said golden showers.
Loyalty Without Intent, 50 Shades of Comey.
50 Shades of Comey.
Not a book title, but too bad Comey can't play basketball in South Korea.
Because he's too tall.
He's over 6'8".
Can't be over 200 centimeters. Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Our thanks, of course, to our technical producer, Justin Kosick, associate producer, Quinn McCarthy, our executive producer, Keith Conrad. I have a great, safe, and happy week. And we'll see you back here on Monday at 5 a.m. Now let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Lead found in the tap water of hundreds of Chicago homes. Woman killed in an Elgin crash. Illinois governor says Missouri's governor should